watching now. Every eye's on you. Every single second counts. Will you make it through? It's an uphill battle, and your knees are bruised. When the clock is ticking down, let your powers burn. Don't be afraid of a little fire. Let it boom it. You were born and raised a fighter. Let it boom it. Everyone's watching. Show them what you do. What you were really here for. What you come to prove. And get them singing. And get them singing. And get them singing.
This summer, the heat will rise with every game, every clash, and every choice. And somewhere in that heat, one team out of 28 will break through and stand tall as champions of Free Fire Max Asia Invitational 2026 Summer. 28 total teams, all from India, Bangladesh, Nepal, Pakistan, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand. Teams will come in hot and will only have one purpose: to be crowned by fire. South Asia play-ins starts from June 12th to June 14th. 18 teams will kick off the South Asia play-ins and will be divided into 3 groups of 6 each. 8 teams from India, 5 teams from Bangladesh, 3 teams from Pakistan, and 2 teams from Nepal. In a round-robin format, each group will play against the others over 3 days. At the end of day 3, only the top 8 teams out of 18 will move forward. For the remaining 10 teams, the journey ends. Main event starts from June 18th to June 20th. The 8 qualified teams from South Asia play-ins will then be challenged by the 10 invited teams. The top Indian team from Free Fire Max Asia Invitational 2026 Spring. 1 team each from Bangladesh, Nepal, and Pakistan. Joining the fray will be teams from across the ocean. 2 teams from Indonesia, 2 teams from Malaysia, and 2 teams from Thailand. Once again, 18 teams are split into 3 groups of 6, and in a round-robin stage that will last for 3 days, only 12 of the finest teams in all of Asia will move on to the last challenge. Grand Finals on 21st June. 1 day, 1 opportunity, no second chances. The Grand Finals will be played in Champion Rush format. To claim the title of champions, a team must first reach 90 points to activate Champion Rush, and then secure a booyah. At stake is not just the crown, but also the biggest share of the $50,000 prize pool. When the final moment arrives and the heat reaches its peak, only one team will rise above the rest, and only one team will be remembered as crowned by fire.
लेट्स सी आगे बढ़ के क्या ये सामने कुछ और फ्रैग्स एकत्रित कर पाएंगे। एनजे ओहायो को डाउन किया गया है। यहाँ पे ऑटोबॉट्स के कुणाल जीवित है। मैड गॉड सामने की तरफ फुवारा को भी डाउन कर दिया गया है। टीम अकीन के पास एडवांटेज था, बट क्या मैड गॉड यहाँ पे इस पोजीशन से कम बैक कर पाएंगे? क्या यहाँ पे क्लच कर पाएंगे? फ्रीज नेट्स का भी इस्तेमाल किया जा रहा है। मैड गॉड को शॉट लगाने की पूरी कोशिश, कुणाल भी डिस्टेंस से शॉट लगाना चाहते हैं, लेकिन फिलहाल के लिए मैड गॉड यहाँ पे अकेले खिलाड़ी जूझते हुए और फिक्स को करेंगे डाउन। दूसरे छोर पे चलिए, टीम अक्की के खिलाड़ियों का रिवाइवल तो हो चुका है, बट मानना पड़ेगा मैड गॉड को। मैड गॉड क्लियरली प्लेइंग लाइक अ मैड गॉड इन द मोमेंट।
लेकिन अभी के लिए ऑटोबॉट्स बनाम आईक्यू टोटल गेमिंग, एक तरफ है भारत के पायोनियर्स आईक्यू टोटल गेमिंग, तो दूसरी तरफ है द न्यू कमर्स बट द राइजिंग स्टार्स, द अमेजिंग प्लेयर्स ऑफ ऑटोबॉट्स esports, जिन्होंने दर्शाया कि प्रेशर में वो क्या कुछ कर सकते हैं। बट अभी के लिए यहाँ पे टीम आकी को फिनिश करेंगे आईक्यू टोटल गेमिंग। कमाल का प्ले, इंस्टेंट रिएक्शन देखने को मिला, एंड ये फिनिशर मूव आएगा इन खिलाड़ियों की तरफ से। मुसीबत का पहाड़ आगे बढ़ता हुआ ये तूफान, ऑटोबॉट्स esports मैड गॉड, एक मैड रश यहाँ पे होता हुआ। इस टाइम नेड भी टॉस करके नीचे फेंकेंगे, अंदर जरूर गया। इस वक्त देखिए हीलिंग यूएवीज का इस्तेमाल किया जा रहा है, ग्लू वॉल यूएवी का इस्तेमाल किया जा रहा है। उन ग्लू वॉल्स को वो तोड़ना नहीं चाहते, लेकिन कैसे नहीं टूटेगी। रिपटाइड रिदम भी आएगा, पेल्टर्स भी आएंगे, इस वक्त हमला भी किया जाएगा। मैड गॉड बेक ऑफ, ये खिलाड़ी आगे बढ़ता जा रहा है।
आखिरी के सर्कल की तरफ हम बढ़ते हुए, ऑटोबॉट्स अपने 80 के आंकड़े की तरफ बढ़ते हुए, 5 अंक दूर है वो 80 के आंकड़े से, 5 अंक दूर है एक भारतीय टीम अपने चैंपियन रश कंडीशन को एक्टिवेट करने से। बट फिलहाल के लिए बची कुची कसर टीम हिंद यहाँ पे पूरी करती हुई नजर आई। बट अब टीम हिंद को बाहर निकलना पड़ेगा। बाहर की तरफ से ऑटोबॉट्स के खिलाड़ी आते हुए, और अभी भी टीम ऑटोबॉट्स सेफ गार्ड कर रहे हैं अपने आप को, टीम हिंद सेफ गार्ड कर रहे हैं अपने आप को। पर अभी के लिए तो देखिए टीम देवा यूनाइटेड होरस के ऊपर भी शॉट लगाए, टीम गॉडलाइक भी धीरे धीरे करके इस तरफ आती हुई वुडू को डाउन कर दिया है, सैवेज भी डाउन। स्टॉप्स कहाँ पे है? स्टॉप्स की जरूरत थी यहाँ पे, बट अब स्टॉप्स मुझे लगता है कि रिवाइवल के लिए भागेंगे, बट सैडली भाग नहीं पाए। हो रहा ई स्पोर्ट्स का खात्मा होता हुआ, लेकिन आईक्यू टोटल गेमिंग बैक इन एक्शन, सामने की तरफ से प्लेयर्स को डाउन करते हुए नजर आ रहे हैं। बट यहाँ पे डिलीट को डाउन कर दिया गया है, टीम गॉड लाइक इट इज। और शैंकी के द्वारा मुझे लगता है कि डिलीट के रिवाइवल की प्रक्रिया स्टार्ट हो तो रही थी, लेकिन यहाँ पे शैंकी को मुश्किलों में डाल दिया गया है। चलिए, डिलीट का रिवाइवल तो हो चुका है, माफिया के द्वारा वो रिवाइवल हुआ। गॉड लाइक भी काफी अच्छी तरीके से फाइट को एग्जीक्यूट कर रही है। ऑटोबॉट्स आई डोंट नो कितने अंक निकाले हैं अभी, बट जिस तरीके से मेरा एस्टिमेशन है, मुझे लगता है 80 का आंकड़ा शायद वो टच कर चुके हैं। लेकिन एनएक्सटी अब ये फंस चुके हैं। आई भी रिपटाइड रिदम का प्रयोग किया गया, एनएक्सटी के खिलाड़ी अब ओपन में आ चुके हैं। केडी वॉट को डाउन कर दिया है, दिस इज द राइट मोमेंट, ये सही मौका है टीम ऑटोबॉट्स के लिए। एश को डाउन कर दिया गया है, वाइल्ड फॉक्स आखिरी खिलाड़ी अभी के लिए ग्लू वॉल के पीछे है। बट क्या अब टीम ऑटोबॉट्स आगे बढ़ के टीम हिंद को एलिमिनेट कर पाएगी? साहिल जाट डाउन है, हिंद के शोटो नजर आते हुए, और अब ये ऑटोबॉट्स के प्लेयर्स इस मुकाबले की बुया की तरफ बढ़ते हुए। इस समय पे सबसे ज्यादा स्ट्रॉन्ग कंटेंडर है बुया के शोटो, खिड़की से अंदर आए, शोटो का वेलकम कर दिया गया है। मैड गॉड को डाउन किया गया, लेकिन अभी मैड गॉड को डाउन करने वाले वाइल्ड फॉक्स को भी डाउन कर दिया जाएगा। एक आखिरी खिलाड़ी टीम हिंद के खेमे से, और ऑटोबॉट्स का बुया आता हुआ इस मुकाबले में भी।
ये खिलाड़ी निकला है अगले कॉइन मशीन एंड वेंडिंग मशीन पे टीममेट्स को बचाने के लिए। टीम आईक्यू टोटल गेमिंग, सामने होने वाली टीम स्ट्रॉ हेड्स रिसेंटली यहाँ पे चैंपियन बनी अपने डोमेस्टिक स्ट्रक्चर के अंदर, डोमेस्टिक टूर्नामेंट के अंदर। और अगर हम बात करें इस समय टीम आईक्यू टोटल गेमिंग, बिल्कुल उनके सामने होने वाली है। पीछे से जाएंगे, हैशटैग हमला करेंगे, हैशटैग आगे जा चुके हैं, 2 एलिमिनेशन झोली में होने वाले हैं। हैशटैग को नॉक करा है, बचाना पड़ेगा टीममेट्स को, यूनाइट होकर खेलना पड़ेगा। पर क्या स्ट्रॉ हेड्स अपना एलिमिनेशन बचा पाएंगे? जी नहीं, यहाँ पे 2 खिलाड़ी को नॉक करा है। माफिया कमाल की स्नाइपिंग करते हुए 2 खिलाड़ियों को नॉक करके निकाला है। इस समय नील एंड वू की हेल्थ कम, नील आखिरी सर्वाइवर, वो यहां से निकलना चाहते थे, नील की हेल्थ कम, और इसी के साथ क्या टीम स्ट्रॉ हेड्स एलिमिनेट हो जाएगी। बड़ा प्रश्न चिन्ह होने वाला है। यहां पे रिवाइवल दिया गया, थीवा के साथ अपने टीममेट को बचाने की कोशिश, शॉट को बचा लिया गया है, पीछा करते हुए डिलीट आगे जा रहे हैं। नील पे हमला होने वाला है, नील को स्पॉट करा और पूरी स्ट्रॉ हेड्स को एलिमिनेट करा है। टीम आईक्यू टोटल गेमिंग बैक इन फॉर्म। आखिरी टीम, आखिरी बाधा टीम हिंद के सामने है। टीम हिंद इंडिया की इकलौती टीम इस समय जो सर्वाइव कर रही है, इकलौती टीम जो टकरा सकती है, एक्सपेंड के इस कहर को रोक सकती है। बाकी टीम्स के लिए, केवल अपने लिए नहीं, सभी के लिए राहत की सांस लेकर सकते हैं, पर एक्सपेंड को रोकना इस समय नामुमकिन है। एक्सपेंड समझ लीजिए एक बवंडर की तरह आगे आ रही है। देखने वाली बात है किस तरीके से एक्सपेंड आगे प्ले करती है। इसे कहते हैं ताकत, बल, शक्ति, पराक्रम, जोर, क्षमता, सामर्थ्य, रुतबा, रौब, खौफ, दबदबा, हुकूमत, साम्राज्य, अधिपत्य, प्रभुत्व, वर्चस्व और अखंड साम्राज्य। ये गन फाइट लेना एक बड़ी भूल हो सकती है एक्सपेंड से। एक्सपेंड आगे जा चुकी है, हिंद पे हमला करते हुए, हिंद के खिलाड़ी नॉक होते हुए, वहां सायन को नॉक करा जाएगा। शोटो यहाँ पे आगे बढ़ेंगे, अभी भी एक्सपेंड के पास मैन एडवांटेज हो सकता है। एक लौते खिलाड़ी शोटो आगे बढ़ रहे हैं, जोन का डैमेज, क्या शोटो यहाँ से क्लच पुल करेंगे? बड़ा प्रश्न, और जी हाँ, शोटो यहाँ से क्लच पुल कर देंगे। मिड लेवल पे आपको नजर आ रही है टीम ऑटोबॉट्स इस कंपाउंड के अंदर। एरिया बहुत अच्छा है, एक्सपेंड को रोक सकती है, एक्सपेंड को रोकना पड़ेगा, उनके कहर को रोकना पड़ेगा। इस बार एक्सपेंड पे हमला भी करा जा रहा है, रेवेनेंट XSPARK ने भी हाथ खोल दिया है। टीम एक्सपेंड एक एक करके खिलाड़ी नॉक करवाते हुए, उनके खिलाड़ी और ज्यादा नॉक होते हुए, आफे का आखिरी खिलाड़ी जोन में हील बैटल करना इकलौता है उनके पास।
हेलो नमस्कार, सत श्री अकाल, आदाब, कैसे आप लोग? टियर लिस्ट, टियर रेटिंग लेके आ चुके हैं आपके साथ, और आज हमारे साथ टियर रेटिंग करने के लिए 4 अमेजिंग एथलीट जुड़े हुए हैं। चलिए शुरू करते हैं टियर रेटिंग की। सबसे पहली टीम गाइस ऑटोबॉट्स,
पिछली बार काफी अच्छा खेले थे वैसे, तो हीरोइक तो रख सकते हैं इनको।
अब हमारे सामने आ चुकी है टीम गॉडलाइक।
ग्रैंड मास्टर पे रख दो।
हाँ, मेरे हिसाब से भी ग्रैंड मास्टर पे भी।
नोबिता यहाँ पे स्माइल दे रहे हैं कि आप कहीं पे भी रख ले, लेकिन मेरे लिए तो गॉडलाइक दिल में रहेगी, दिल से गॉडलाइक। और अब अगली टीम है स्ट्रॉ हैट्स।
स्ट्रॉ हैट्स को डायमंड पे रख सकते हैं, मारते तो अच्छा मारते हैं लोग।
इनका बंदा वेंडिंग पे कैंप करके बैठा था भाई, इनको प्लेटिनम पे रखो।
फाल्कन्स को कहाँ रखा जाए, चारों खिलाड़ियों से पूछूंगा मैं।
ग्रैंड मास्टर से
मास्टर
ऊपर
यार।
अगर होती तो अगर रख देते इसको तो।
चैंपियंस पे रख दो, चैंपियंस पे कुछ एक बनाओ उस पर।
हाँ एक चैंपियन का बना दो।
बिगेट्रॉन बाय वाइटैलिटी, इन्हें कहाँ रखा जाए?
ग्रैंड मास्टर पे रख दो।
ये भी भाई है भाई, चैंपियंस के भाई है, रख दो ग्रैंड मास्टर।
आईक्यू टोटल गेमिंग कहाँ रखना चाहेंगे?
ग्रैंड मास्टर यार वो।
ग्रैंड मास्टर पे ही रख दो।
और अब टीम हिंद हमारे तेज FFMIC 2026 स्प्रिंग के चैंपियन और
चैंपियन है, और इंडियन सर्वर में तो इनका कंपटीशन कोई दिख नहीं रहा है।
ग्रैंड मास्टर डालो इनको, क्योंकि अभी स्क्रिम्स भी चल रही थी जो बाहर की, उसमें भी काफी अच्छा खेल रहे थे।
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. This is the Free Fire Max Asia Invitational 2026 Summer Main Event. And the journey for the crown is slowly building up. After grueling play-ins from South Asia teams this week, we're going to introduce some boss matches with top teams coming from both South Asia and Southeast Asia. Will they be going through onto the grand finals? Who will be burned and who will be getting the ticket to ground by fire? I'm Neptune Jam Garcia, together with the one and only Cripson, will be your casters for the first half of the day.
Thank you so much for the warm welcome, Neptune. Although, while it was a warm welcome for me, for these teams it will be a fiery, hot welcome. And those who cannot handle the heat will crumble down to ashes. And those who can survive the heat, they will be crowned by the fire. This is the Free Fire Max Asia Invitational 2026 Summer. And oh boy, it's a scorchingly hot summer for some of these teams over here. They've already gone through the ringer, right? In a few moments, we will just be witnessing the tournament timeline, and then you will realize that the South Asia play-ins that just happened last weekend were absolutely banging. If I saw that tournament with my with no context, you know, if you did not tell me what that tournament was like, I would have assumed that this is the FFMAI Grand Finals. That's how intense the matches were. But they will become even more intense now going into the main event. So I am super excited.
And I agree. I mean, even from the South Asia play-ins, there's a lot of clutch moments, especially in the final day. And it's just unfortunate that those who managed to play in the first 2 days really couldn't do anything to like put themselves on the board on the top 8. But that's how it is right now. Even for this week, as we go into the main event, we only have 3 play days, and for each group or for each team, they have 2 play days each. And the following day with the grand finals. So we'll touch up on more of that later on. I'm really looking forward as well to those who are being introduced to the Free Fire Max Asia Invitational for the first time. We'll have 3 of those later on being introduced to everyone.
Yeah, and speaking of introductions, let me first introduce you to how this tournament started. We started last week. 12, 13, and 14 June were the South Asia play-ins, where the best teams from India, Bangladesh, Nepal, and Pakistan were duking it out. And out of those teams, only 8 have made it to the main event, which will begin today, and it will go on till Saturday, 20th June. And then on Sunday, we will have the grand finals, which will be followed in the Champion Rush format on 21st of June.
Yeah, and as you did mention, 3 days from South Asia play-ins. We had 18 teams and only 8 managed to push through onto the main event. And we're going to introduce 10 teams right here into the main event as well. I'm really looking forward to what the teams has to offer, because for some of those South Asia teams, they've done a lot already, as we talked about, as we were hyping them from the beginning of the show. And the introduction of 10 giants coming from South Asia and Southeast Asia might either make them slow down a little bit, or they make them stronger because they're motivated against the top dogs that we have in the mix.
Yeah, and while they've been motivated, they have already shown us what some training and motivation can do. I mean, last time in the FFMAI 2026 spring, we saw most of the Indian teams qualify from the South Asia play-ins. This time, there's only a handful of Indian teams, only 3 to be precise. Teams from Bangladesh and Pakistan have really stepped up, so the South Asia play-ins were super intense. And the top 8 from South Asia play-ins, we had Team Apex Gaming, we had SHUL, we had REVENANT, XSPARK, Total Winner, HOTSHOT, Extreme X, and all of those teams will be joining the current champions or the current contenders coming in from the main event. So that will bring us to a total of 18 teams, and only 12 of them will make it to the grand finals, where we will be following the Champion Rush condition. For those of you who are not familiar with the Champion Rush condition, you will need 90 points to activate this condition, and once you activate it, you need to win a booyah to be crowned as the champions. Now, last year this condition was set at 80 points, but then the level of competition kept increasing so much, we realized that teams can activate this Champion Rush condition in like 3 games. We had a team activated in 3 games last FFMAI, so we had to raise it a little bit to 90 instead of 80 this time.
But then again, even if you activate it first, it's not sure that you will be the champions. And
that's
we
true.
know for a fact that there's a champion rush curse that has been happening. But hopefully it doesn't happen right now, and those who activate it will be the champions, because the champions will be getting the bigger piece of this pie of the $50,000 prize pool that we have overall. The champions will be getting 15,000. It goes down drastically on the second place, but good story for everyone who's participating in the main event. They will get the minimum of the $500 on the 18th place if they get in the 18th place. So hopefully they stack under the points right there, because you don't want to be left out with only chump change out of the prize pool.
Exactly. And while getting some amount of money is respectable, while making it to the main event is respectable, you obviously want the bigger chunk of the prize pool. And how do you get that? By earning as many points as possible. So let's take a look at the point system. Most of you will be familiar with this already, but for those of you who are new over here, let me introduce you once again. If you win the game, if you win the Booyah, you get 12 points. If you come in second, you get 9 placement points. If you come in third, you get 8 placement points. And similarly, the number of placement points keeps on reducing the lower you go in position, with the last 2 teams not getting anything at all. And if you get eliminations, each elimination will bring you 1 point. So you have to get in a good balance of placements as well as elimination points. And let's say for some reason you are tied up with another team with the same number of points. How do you break the tie? We will first compare the number of Booyahs you have. If that also happens to be true, then we will take a look at the number of total eliminations. And if that is also true, which is highly unlikely by the way, we will check the ranking in the final game. And only then we will place the team with all of these criterias higher. There is one more criteria that you need to keep in mind though, that you need to be super creative. Every player in the team needs to have a different active skill. So you will need 4 unique active skills in the team. You cannot have 2 people use the same ability.
And you mentioned about being creative at this point, and we've seen a lot of teams being creative using some of the off-meta skills right there, especially the snipers. Most of the time we have the Nero, we have the Skylar, as well as the Moors being put in, but in some cases we are seeing some Iris as well. It's not only the snipers, even for those of the rushers and the support are bringing in a combination of different active skills together with the passive that they have. You can see the intention of some of the teams. So I'm really looking forward to what creativity and what imagination the teams will have right now. But again, it's up to them to bring that fire with mechanical skills and other tactics as well. But let's introduce the teams and the groups that will be playing for today. We have Group B and C, and from Group B we have Demon's Pride, BANGLA Unity, Team Apex Gaming, Team Falcons, RQ KAZU, DRS Gaming, and for Group C we have MAQNA Esports Club, Straw Hats, REVENANT XSPARK, HOTSHOT Esports, AUTOBOTZ Esports, and BIGETRON by Vitality.
Yep, and for those of you who have watched the previous iterations of FFMAI, you will realize that BIGETRON by Vitality are really hard hitters. They almost won the 2025 championship. When I say almost, they had the highest number of points, but then their championship trophy was stolen away from them by Avida x KDC. But unfortunately, they are not the only team who have been facing these kind of heists. I mean, we have seen BIGETRON getting their trophy stolen from them on several occasions. So maybe this time they can finally come in and take that W.
Well, as I did mention earlier, we have 3 teams out of the current playing out of Group B and C. That would be the first time in Free Fire Max Asia Invitational. So really looking forward to what they have what they're going to bring in to the table right now. One of which has been introduced from the South Asia play-in, which is BANGLA Unity from Bangladesh. Now we have a couple that is Demon's Pride from Pakistan, as well as RQ KAZU from Indonesia. And those 3, this is the first time we're going to see them on the main event. But like with BANGLA Unity, we know how well they can catch up with numbers, but with Giants in the mix, it might be difficult. Another fun fact is we have one team in Group B and C that has been in here for the 3 iterations of the Free Fire Max Asia Invitational, and that's REVENANT XSPARK. Unfortunate for them, they really couldn't get close to the grand finals on the 25 season. They end up on the 9th place on the play-ins and then pushed down to 16th on the main event. They did manage to get the first on the spring season, but again, 10th place on the grand final. So it's still unfortunate for the team, and hopefully this is time for them to rise up.
Yep, and this time I think they should be able to rise up well because Revenant XSPARK have also had a lineup change. You see Kunal over here, he used to be the IGL for AUTOBOTZ Esports. So now that Kunal has entered Revenant XSPARK, AUTOBOTZ are left without an IGL. They will have to restructure their entire lineup, and that's why they've had to introduce Power and Kohli into the roster. So there are a couple of roster changes for these teams coming in, and this will be their first tournament after the said change. So let's see how they adapt to it. They will have 6 games to adapt today, and then a couple more tomorrow, especially for teams in group number C. These guys will have to play back-to-back days, and they will have to bring their best foot forward. We will start off today with Kalahari, and then we will move on to Nextera and Bermuda, after which we will take your leave, and the other casters, AJ and Lucifer, will join us for Solara and Purgatory and the last map. Last map, obviously, is going to be randomized.
Yeah, well, let's see though. In Kalahari, first map for today, we've seen some information already, some numbers being brought in by those coming from the South Asia play-in, especially Revenant XSPARK, who managed to get 2 buoys out of there. But a few fun facts as well. We have 5 teams right here who really has taken the board out of their region. Team Apex Gaming being the champions of the Free Fire Max in the Cup and in the 26th spring season. Now, same goes with Straw Hats in their own region of Free Fire World Series for the spring season, as well as DRS Gaming being the number 1 in Nepal. We also have Demon's Pride from Pakistan, who's being number 1, and All Gamers Global, who is number 2 in Free Fire World Series Southeast Asia Spring. And I'm really loving that we have these top contenders who will be joining the mix right now in the main event.
Yep, I believe over here you have All Gamers Global, who can kind of relate to BIGETRON, you know. They almost won the FFWS SEA Spring, had a lovely start with a great booyah, but then WAG just stole it away from them by getting so many booyahs on the trot. So this time, hopefully, All Gamers should be able to get their revenge. And considering that AG over here will have not much trouble going into Kalahari, I think they will have a good start for themselves. And these will be the preferred drop spots of the teams in Kalahari. Keep in mind that these are subject to change, so take these with a pinch of salt. As of now, we see potential drop clashes in Mammoth between Straw Hats as well as Demon's Pride. Straw Hats, the best team of Bangladesh, versus Demon's Pride, the best team of Pakistan. We have a South Asian face-off over here in Mammoth. Meanwhile, in Refinery, you have the number 1 team from... they used to be the number 1 team of Pakistan until they were overtaken by Demon's Pride. We have HOTSHOTs versus RRQ in Refinery, and a potential clash, DRS versus Revenant XSPARK in Shrine. So a couple of potential drop clashes on the horizon for us, but I wouldn't be surprised if these teams start off a little easy. Just, go for those split drops to minimize risk. And I really don't expect some of the teams over here to take a very risky approach and full send onto teams right from the get-go.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in most cases, the first game is where everything is slowed down, unless you really have momentum. I would expect that South Asia play-in's team will be going for the hot drops against those teams that was part of that mix. But we're also going to have a little bit of a prediction time at this point, and really loving that we have more info right now for the teams, because it's not only the details that we have from South Asia play-in. I'm pretty sure you also did a little bit of research on some of the teams, but we'll to see, or we would like everyone to see which team, top 3 I would say, we have on our predictions out of game number 1 Kalahari. And you have BIGETRON by Vitality in there, but I'm seeing Falcons in comparison to my Revenant XSPARK, as well as your AUTOBOTZ against my HOTSHOTs.
Yeah, so I think we just really agreed upon the BIGETRON factor over here, considering that they are a very elimination-hungry team. I expect that they, out of all people, will probably start off really well, even if they don't win the Booyah, even though Kalahari isn't exactly their strongest map. They seem to have a good amount of eliminations on this map all the time, so that's why I'm rooting for them. And the reason I've also picked up AUTOBOTZ is, again, they're a very elimination-hungry team. They always struggle to get the Booyah, regardless of what map it is, but I'm expecting them to have a high-scoring game. And then, I mean, Falcons, come on. Falcons, they're a pretty easy choice. They're a very safe choice. It's easy to pick them up as your pick. So, yeah, I've just gone for a very safe one.
Well, let's see now. I mean, some fans out there, Falcon fans, might really be, I would say, I say questioning my predictions right now because again, BIGETRON by Vitality, I do agree. From Southeast Asia Spring, they had 2 Booyahs out here around 100 plus. Overall, though, we're talking about that. It's not just the grand finals, but overall, they managed to get 100 plus in the points. REVENANT XSPARK, though, from South Asia play-ins, they managed to get 2 Booyahs in here, 67 in total on the points. And HOTSHOT, though they didn't get any Booyah, but we know that they can bring in the fire. They can bring all those elimination in. So just close to REVENANT XSPARK with 61 points. So I just based it on numbers, but again, it's up to the teams right now to prove me wrong. And I really urge the team to prove me wrong right now on my top 3 predictions.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people would have doubted my Falcons prediction as well, right? Because Falcons were doing really well before the start of 2026.
Yeah.
I mean, in 2025, they literally won the Southeast Asia Fall Championship in Free Fire World Series. And then when you come over to the 2026 spring season, they finished 9th. They were just barely in the top 10. So, yeah, their form also has taken a bit of a dip. But right now, the only dip, or rather the only drop that I'm looking forward to is the teams dropping into this deserty dunes. Let's take a look at the first map of the day, ladies and gentlemen. We have Kalahari on the screens. Let's begin this.
Yeah, look at the flight path right now from Oldhampton heading in just onto the west of Stone Ridge. And we've seen that a few teams already taking shrines. A double hot drop that we might expect in there is coming from either REVENANT XSPARK and DRS. And there you have it, DRS. I thought they will be heading straight to Council Hall to go against BIGETRON by Vitality, but no, they decided to go into shrines. A few contenders as well going into the southern part of the area. MAQNA Esports as well as TAG. Now, that would be something that excites us because we haven't seen a MAQNA Esports club really battle against Indian teams for the most cases.
Yeah, for the most cases, MAQNA Esports Club have been very, very troublesome, but they don't nearly get to the top. This time, the REVENANT XSPARK, they are the ones creating trouble for DRS. They have already secured the elimination onto Takuri, but StroX manages to get the res again, which implies that Alu and Pratik over here, even if they lose their lives, StroX is somewhere else on the map, so he can probably bring them back to life. And as we expected, REVENANT XSPARK get those eliminations, and with that, they've earned enough points to bring Vincent back. They should be able to collect a couple of coins over here, so they can get Sohan as well. But that being said, though, they might accidentally run into DRS again. They knew that StroX just managed to get the res, but they did not know where he was. Now they might have just discovered him in the Bayfront quad compound.
That's one thing now. I mean, once you revive a teammate, they got spotted by an enemy, that will be a fewer hint of where they will be heading. But on the other side, we have MAQNA Esports going for the chase against a couple of players from TAG. And I'm not quite sure if Team Apex Gaming will be able to get away from this, or if they're planning to get away, because I'm pretty sure they have the firepower to do so. But without Shoto into the mix, they will be slowed down. But the real soldiers being eliminated a little bit early, and we didn't expect this to happen, but from that engagement that happened in Shrine, our REVENANT XSPARK really is on fire and hungry to get all those points in.
Yeah, and REVENANT XSPARK only probably got like 3 points in, so the last member of DRS was probably shot by someone else. That is very unfortunate for DRS. A rather slow start for them, getting only a couple of points to their name, but Team Apex Gaming might also face the same fate over here as they are losing their battle in Stone Ridge. They're being followed by Bangla Unity really hard, so they need to get out of here quickly. KD God hops into the Jeep, tries to get away as quickly as possible, but he has to leave his poor teammate Sahiljat back there, and Sahiljat will have to fend off on his own. Meanwhile, RRQ, while they were fighting Straw Hats and Refinery, they've only lost Mal, and they've got 1 elimination, so they lose 1, they get 1. It's a fair trade for them for the time being, although I would have expected a lot more action in Refinery by now. The Boatmaker keeping them shy, and because they know that they're undercover, Straw Hats drop down to the floor, hoping to catch RRQ off guard. They only catch Rands, but the revenge is instantly here. Deer trapped in that container, locked in against Shocked, and Neil tries to save him, but unfortunately, he also falls. Who finally has to step up, and with his VSK, he's able to somewhat recover the damage that was dealt. And while Refinery battles will continue going on, we hop over towards Bayfront once again, where it's Autobots versus Falcons.
Autobots right now losing Mad God, but quickly revived. But here comes the fight, and Raja with M590 managed to dance around against Johan. Now Prodigy right now with a hook gun trying against Limit, but Limit 7 already managed to pull off a launch pad. Another shot, and he might have been taken out already. Autobots are taking Bayfront by themselves, and only Limit 7 is the only remaining player, but unfortunately met by BTR Koja. And you know the signature of BIGETRON by Vitality. They are the Falcon Hunters, and the final player hunted dearly, ending in 11th place.
Sheesh, it seems like these guys have they just have taste for the birds. They just have taste for the Falcons. They love eating their chicken, they love eating their turkeys, and any other kind of bird that's edible, especially Falcons. And BIGETRON, while they have got Falcons, the next target is Autobots. While they don't particularly want to target Autobots, they are in their line of sight, and whoever's in their line of sight will be forced to fight, and Autobots cannot win it. Forced to run away. Mad God has to run for his life. And I think he's got enough coins to revive at least 2 players of his team, but that is subject to change considering the number of vending machines available are very limited right now. All of these teams who've suffered some losses, they have to lick their wounds and get the reses back. DR18 almost went back in cover, and unfortunately he will not survive this one. Vincent gets him, but Kunal gets shot down instead. Mal, he's surrounded. Sohan trying to get the trade, and Sohan will find it with the Bison. And finally, REVENANT XSPARK stabilize.
And it's one thing though, I mean, from the roster of RQ KAZU, one change that is really evident is how Maal is engaging in battle. Now he can go in a CQC without really relying on the long-range weapon. But it's just unfortunate that he's still in a practice stage. So without any backup, he might be taken down, especially with a number of opponents against you. But there's that improvement that we are seeing. And I guess they're prepared on a global stage as well. But speaking of global stage, this HOTSHOT from Pakistan has been seen in most of the global stage, but this is the only time that they are really performing. For the South Asia plane, started topping the board, being pushed down, but still, they managed to go into the main event. Now, they're slowly building their momentum. Similar to some of the top dogs that we have in this mix coming from Southeast Asia, they don't want to engage early into the fight, but wait for mid lane until they get into a more comfortable spot in the halfway through after the game, and then that's where they start rocking the points compared to BIGETRON by Vitality, wherein they're just hungry to get elimination.
Yeah, BIGETRON are just super hungry right now. No amount of bug can satiate their hunger. Ooh, nice shot by Johan. Kyung didn't even have his feet on the ground before he started landing those shots. And Johan, a pixel is still visible, but they're forced to go outside the zone. Prodigy also taking a bunch of damage. Autobots down to their last legs. It seems like escape is not possible anymore. And Prodigy just has to pray for his life, but Koja finds him as well. Now, luckily, there is an insurance policy for Autobots. There's still one more player remaining, so he will be able to get the res onto the rest of the team. All 4 of them alive.
Oh, no.
But I just hope they don't fall into this trap of reviving the players again and again. Derian, he has to run as well. Last member of his team tries to go around the corner. Sihan pre-fires him. And MAQNA Esports Club are the 3rd team to fall.
And this is what I'm talking about. MAQNA Esports Club, there's a lot of potential for them from Southeast Asia. But even then, they were being eliminated a little bit early. But now, BANGLA Unity, a team that really slowly clutched their play towards that play-ins from last week, are now building a momentum, or has built that momentum already. And they managed to take down MAQNA Esports. Staying outside, though, is, I would say, still safe for the moment until we get to the 3rd and 4th phase of the circle, where they might need to get in like early in the middle of the next phase so that at least they will not be taking the zone. But even with the team boosters, it's still a good plan to find real estate because there's a lot of gatekeeping that will be happening with the 9 teams remaining in this fight.
Yeah, and real estate is going to be important. RQ realize that. That's why they're heading towards the sub already. It's going to be one of those places where a lot of teams can just sneak up under you. But as long as your situational awareness is amazing and you guys have those drones, you should be able to keep an eye on everybody. So they've got that care package for themselves. They've got the sub area under their control. Meanwhile, this is a replay of how MAQNA Esports crumbled under pressure very, very quickly. Getbu was trying to single out one player, but the moment he gets to Sihan, he gets pumped with the Trogon, and Sihan gets a double instantly over there. Meanwhile, you had Yanzi. He was trying to go for the flank. He gets shot down by Rehan instead. And just like that, MAQNA Esports Club were destroyed in a matter of seconds. Oh, but we have another battle brewing over here just to the south of Bayfront. We've got AUTOBOTZ versus BIGETRON. This is probably like round 3, man. These guys have been fighting each other since so long. I saw them fight in Bayfront, then they fought outside of Council Hall, and now they're fighting in Bayfront again. And every single time, AUTOBOTZ have to rely on revives. Prodigy, as the last man standing, does manage to revive 3 of his players, but how many times will they keep on doing this? They cannot just keep on reviving again and again. They need to fight back. Prodigy answers by getting that knock, but no, Deeks is able to stabilize instantly. And BIGETRON, it seems like out of the 12 eliminations they have, at least 6 or 7 minimum must have come from AUTOBOTZ.
And one thing though, I mean, this is something that will save those being revived, because BIGETRON by Vitality doesn't really look up much on those who's dropping. They're just focused on those who on the ground, and it can give way for AUTOBOTZ, who will be spreading out, who's going to be revived in that fight. But as we've seen, BIGETRON is really on the hunt. The moment that they see an opponent dropping from those parachutes, they will be heading in that direction quite quickly, especially in Kalahari, where you don't only have the launch pad, you also have the hook gun to work with. They need to be careful on where they are headed. But for BANGLA Unity, they, after the engagement against MAQNA Esports Club, they're just close behind, but they might be meeting against HOTSHOTs right now, who's shooting at them, but they're just waiting for next phase of the circle to show up in 15 seconds.
Yeah, and the circle just keeps on pulling to the south. Unfortunately, even for AUTOBOTZ, everything is going south. Nothing seems to be working in their favor. Sohan. Sniff. He can smell his opponents. He can smell their fear, and he finds power. There you go. Another one down. They were running from BIGETRON, but they end up hiding against REVENANT XSPARK as well. And now REVENANT are like, okay, my nose is not working. I can't sniff any more opponents. Let's use a UAV to clear out the hiding people, to clear out the stragglers.
Well, let's see if they can clear it out right now. Zone's closing in, and BIGETRON has lost sight of AUTOBOTZ. It's a good thing for AUTOBOTZ, but unfortunately dropped in refinery being spotted by REVENANT XSPARK, slowly building the numbers. But Team Apex Gaming, they managed to get 1 elimination earlier. I think, if I'm mistaken, that's within somewhere on the eastern side in Bayfront as well, but they might be able to get a few more as they're tagging up some players from BIGETRON by Vitality. Elimination leader doesn't matter if you cannot survive these shots from afar. You cannot spot out Team Apex Gaming, then you can't really fight against them. And we've seen BTR, only 1 sniper to their side, despite of this being Kalahari, and they have the capacity to bring that double sniper.
And I'm just super fascinated by looking at their camera right now. I'm used to seeing all these players in their individual bedrooms playing away from each other. It feels good to see all of them sitting in the same room finally. They finally have an org to themselves. Team Hind, the champion of KAZU FFMAI India Cup, have now been acquired by Apex Gaming, one of the most famous orgs, who have literally come out of nowhere and still taken the whole scene by storm. So now it's time for Apex Gaming to do the same. They've got themselves a nice central position, and they're trying to take pot shots at BIGETRON versus REVENANT XSPARK that's happening on the edge of the map. So while AUTOBOTZ have a decent spot for themselves, BIGETRON still need to find their way inside. REVENANT XSPARK also just getting pressured from RRQ, who are currently exploiting that high ground area. Now RRQ also need to make their way into the zone, but for them it's a rather clear entrance. They don't have anyone gatekeeping them. But BIGETRON and REVENANT XSPARK, they both keep getting shot, and they're both getting pressured like anything. BIGETRON finally relieving some pressure by getting knocks onto Apex Gaming. They're down 2 of the Apex Gaming players, but they still can't do anything to RRQ. And RRQ just continue raining hellfire upon REVENANT XSPARK.
And there's one thing though, I mean, one reason why REVENANT XSPARK is being shut down is because they have their back turns against RRQ. And if you're going to shoot someone out, then those are the one who couldn't fight you entirely and who's being distracted by another team. Though they don't know it's BIGETRON by Vitality who's going against REVENANT XSPARK, but the moment that they got away from the confines of those glue walls and stepped into where those elimination happened against REVENANT XSPARK, that's when RRQ now is moving. Straw Hats though, against Demon's Pride, a one grenade coming from Aswap. This might be the downfall of the team, but unfortunate for them, they were healing up already, and I believe it's those inhalers that saved Shock for a bit, but the Who will be taken down, even nil, and as quickly as that, the moment they step in, they got annihilated, and Straw Hats is out at 8.
Yeah, and unfortunately the team doing all the hard work, Demon's Pride, the ones who were actually hunting down Straw Hats, didn't even get the eliminations for it. RRQ stole those points away from them, and now RRQ might just steal the lives of Demon's Pride. Unless they can find a way to get inside that safe zone, I don't think they are gonna have a good time. Oh, never mind, RRQ has a bigger problem. BIGETRON are behind them, and they've already lost Deer 18. They instantly go for the res. Rayhan, it's now time for him to start shooting at Demon's Pride, so luckily RRQ can completely focus on BIGETRON right now. A pure 4v4 over here, and the nades do such a brilliant damage. My goodness, they destroy Deeks. Kyong and Koja forced to fall back. Riptide Rhythm sent through. Kyong and Koja once again forced to relinquish that high ground area and go deeper underneath. But RRQ must not overextend. The revives are insane, but the landmine comes through and a fight goes down yet again. And another one. Seabank and Kyong on the verge of pulling off a 2v4, and they completely destroy RRQ. HOTSHOTs want a piece of the pie, and they steal a couple of eliminations as well, but god damn, that was a brilliant 2v4 survival.
And I thought RRQ will be able to survive. After that landmine knockdown, they can go for the pickup. And then here comes HOTSHOTs for the backstab. Even pushes BIGETRON by Vitality away from that area. So let's see though, there's only a couple of players coming from BTR right now. And Koja, the sniper, as well as Bang, who managed to pull away from the rest of the squad and not eliminated, will have a really hard time getting into next phase of the circle. There are a few covers that they can work with, but it's not so much of a compound lead. It's just those containers, and Shoto shot to the head and shot to the heart of Koja, leaving BTR with only one who is being cooked outside of the zone.
Oh my god, they're getting cooked, bro. They're on the burn. They're feeling the fire over here. And they won't be crowned by the fire. They keep getting so much damage. I don't know about fire, man, but right now they're freezing. Look at the amount of freeze grenades on HOTSHOTs and even the glue wall melters. Both Apex Gaming and BANGLA Unity are uniting their forces to destroy HOTSHOTs. And in Wolvin, it's his Woodpecker who's doing all the damage. Sahil Jatnade finally finishes off most of HOTSHOTs. It's just actions left, and he's also hiding inside that container. He's hoping that nobody spots him. I think I can say the same for Seabank, because he's also hiding and biding his time. How on earth are Seabank and Action still alive? Seabank finally forced to come outside the zone. He's literally hugging the zone and watching in inch by inch.
Yeah, I mean, no one has managed to spot him, even from BANGLA Unity. Seabank was just stealthy at this point. He haven't even triggered that stealth bites just yet, the moment he get into the containers. But now this is a battle of those coming in from South Asia play-ins, and Team Apex Gaming pull away on a 3 or a 1-3 split just to make sure they will not be caught off guard with any nades from BANGLA Unity. Actions though, HOTSHOTs, I don't think they will be able to survive. And Nico Shoto with M590 eliminating one team, and now BTR still managed to end the third, and we are being brought into a 4v4 against Team Apex Gaming and BANGLA Unity. Oh my goodness. Team Apex Gaming introducing themselves to everyone into the main event. Great booyah. And we've seen as well that they were not hot on the beginning of this game. It's more of BIGETRON by Vitality as well as REVENANT XSPARK, who's getting a lot of elimination, but towards the end, they know exactly what needs to be done. I would love to see how many elimination they got out of here, because there's a good chance that they might be able to overtake I would say, overtake BIGETRON by Vitality in terms of numbers because of the small difference they have in elimination, plus the booyah that Team Apex Gaming managed to get in this game number 1.
Oh, yep. Team Apex Gaming, how on earth have they pulled this off? They managed their opponents really well. BIGETRON by Vitality were basically destroyed in that battle against RRQ. Even though they survived, they were on their last legs, which basically set Apex Gaming up for success. And look at the way they move in with their hook guns, instantly closing in the distance. KD gets the first knock, and as soon as they get it, they know that Sihan, Rehan, they both are close together. They will go for the res, and they pounce upon Rehan, instantly preventing them from getting the revive. And as soon as that happens, Team Apex Gaming, they had the numbers advantage already, and they knew that they just need to close it out. But despite everything, despite all their best efforts, BIGETRON by Vitality still have a very good amount of points. 15 eliminations and 23 total points for BIGETRON by Vitality. It's amazing. And I think it would have been higher if they did not lose most of their forces in that clash against RRQ and HOTSHOT Esports.
Yeah, I do agree. And it's thanks to CVINC as well. He managed to squeeze himself in there in 3rd spot. On a solo mission, Stealth Bites, he's not even using any launch pad to move away from Reza Squad. It's more of the stealth that CVINC managed to pull off. And I did point out earlier that out of the full squad of BTR, only 3 in the front lines, and CVINC was just flanking away to get an angle on that snipe, but that is a savior of the team in terms of placement. But I'm really loving that BANGLA Unity is still on the roll with getting a few elimination, ending in a final circle, but there's still a lot more work to do because the moment they give an opportunity for teams or the invited teams to study their approach, then they might be taken down early. But there's no questioning that Shoto was MVP in this game.
Shoto almost always has been the MVP for Apex Gaming, whether it's in this particular game, whether it's that 1v4 against Xpan in the previous FFMAI, or whether it's him being the MVP of the India Cup. Shoto always has been the torchbearer for his team, basically doing most of the damage every single time. And it's not like he carries the team, right? But he is the highest impact fragger because it's often his shots that make or break the fight. So this time he's got 4 eliminations, which is rather humble for a man of his caliber. 2,500 damage on him, and Shoto was wielding the Oscar, as you might expect. Drakey along with the Joseph, J-Beebs and Nikita. So it basically turns him into an all-rounder. The J-Beebs for survivability, Joseph to make sure he doesn't get hit by any other abilities, Nikita to keep him sustained in the fight. And his teammates also set him up for success quite a lot, because you take a look at KD God, he's still one of the only snipers who's still using the Skylar. A lot of people have shifted over to either the Nero or the Morse. Wolvin, good old Enhanced Hammer plus Chrono combination. Like, a lot of people don't use the Enhanced Hammer, but Wolvin still prefers to get his team a little bit of extra damage. So he's using the proper survival tactics, you know, the Chrono along with the Tiva to keep his team sustained in the fight. Meanwhile, Sahil Jat is just being as disruptive as possible. He's the Grenadier with the Beast and Alvaro equipped, Susie to get that extra money, and the A124 for proper disruption.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing, though, that he managed to bring in a lot of elimination for Sahil Chad, because not so much, a lot of damage, though, not so much elimination. It's most of Wolfin is doing the work and eliminating those knockdowns, as well as Shoto in there. But I'm really loving that the combination of the teams, even with the skills that they have, is quite surprising, I would say, because we don't see often a combination of A124 together with Valiant Dash Oscar, as well as you pointed out, KD God's Riptide Rhythm on that Skylar. So I'm really loving that they are also catching up on what great use of having a split splits together with the Piston, as well as the A124, because once you have that helping hand, your throws will be longer, and A124 is one of those that is treated like a grenade out there that would increase the range of that thrill of battle.
It basically just helps you in multiple ways. So Apex Gaming really prioritizing their throwables, their utility, and if you take a look at their movement also, they were pretty well optimized. Like, unlike a lot of other teams who were all over the place, right?
Yep.
Apex Gaming did not really go from fight to fight. They went from POI to POI. From Bayfront, they went to Santa Katrina. And then take a look at that safe rotation from outside the zone along Stone Ridge. And since then, they've been trying to fight against Bangla Unity just to get inside the zone and get a compound for themselves. And once they get it, they stay there. They hold their ground. They do not get bothered by the massive RRQ, BTR, HOTSHOT, kerfuffle over there on the outskirts, edges of the circle. They don't worry about those. They don't get greedy and leave their position to get a bunch of eliminations. So they hold their ground, and they know that Bangla Unity is just across the other side. They've already scouted them out way before that final fight even began, so they knew exactly what they were signing up for.
Well, I do agree. I mean, I'm really loving that they are just watching everything unfold in the final moment, taking advantage of the situation, and then grabbing that booyah. And that's one of the strategy that we are really encouraging the teams, or for those a little bit too aggressive, to do. Because even in aggression, it can bring in numbers, similar to what we've seen in BIGETRON by Vitality. But if you want to practice for that Champion Rush Grand Finals, you will need to take it slow from the beginning, the first half of the game, and that's where you rack up elimination, find a final circle, make sure that you're a full squad. But as we head into the next game, we are now stepping into Nextera. So not so much of those platforms, but we know that they have elevation as well. And with the number of compounds that we have, even the teams are still choosing those hot drops a lot in Intellect Center. That's REVENANT, XSPARK, BIGETRON by Vitality, as well as a DRS. But I believe the real soldiers will be pulling away from this because they don't want the same thing happening to them in this game number 2 from what happened in Kalahari, wherein they got eliminated first.
Yeah, they definitely don't want that disaster again. Although I see Intellect Center and I see a potential disaster brewing already. REVENANT, XSPARK are too stubborn to leave this. BIGETRON are too stubborn to leave this. Does DRS have what it takes to land into Intellect Center and continue fighting? Or will they force REVENANT, XSPARK out of there early on? Even in Deca Square, AUTOBOTZ have been generally uncontested in whichever other tournament they face. But now Straw Hats might actually give them a run for their money in Deca Square. So that is going to be super interesting as well. But a lot of the other POIs like your Zipway, your Boxing Gym, they are not as heavily contested as I thought they would be. Perhaps not for the drop clash, but we know that a lot of teams will rotate via those areas, especially Farmtopia and Boxing Gym. So yeah, I'm expecting a lot of those teams to get into trouble while they start rotating. And it is a problem in this map, which is why the predictions are going to be heavily centered around them. At least for me, I have picked up teams in my prediction who I know can punish a bunch of their opponents in the middle of those rotates. So let's take a look at the caster predictions over here. And you'll notice I'm basically going for a lot of those safe picks, okay? I always keep picking Falcons, although given the performance in the last game, I am starting to doubt my predictions a little bit over here. I thought they would be great at intercepting rotations, but clearly that did not happen in the last game. Maybe there's a chance for that in this game. I've also picked up RRQ KAZU because I kind of like how smartly they play. And they had everything they needed to win that fight against BIGETRON in the previous game, but god damn that landmine. It hit them like a truck out of nowhere. And last but not the least, I picked up Straw Hats because I liked what they did previously in Nextera, but I don't know if they will be able to replicate that same performance over here in this stage.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, it's just for me, I do have Falcons and RQ as well because of the performance they have in Southeast Asia. When it comes to this map, they're tied to tie, like 102 in terms of elimination, 101. That's Falcons, 101 for RQ. For the final pick, you had Straw Hats, I have HOTSHOT because they did manage to get one booyah as well, 38 points from South Asia play-ins, but that's just the past. This is now the future, and we're talking about Nextera, the future of Free Fire. Let's see where teams will be heading, and they will be coming in from Turbine. So looking at some of the potential drops that teams would be, they're dead smack in the middle, and some of which might be choosing to go south instead of getting into Intellect Center, which is in the north.
Yeah, so as of now, you're right. I mean, one of the teams, DRS, has already dipped out of Intellect Center. They were supposed to drop over there, but instead they went towards Placeria, where they're going to have a drop clash against Bangla Unity. But Bangla Unity also have a split drop. Some of them are over here. Meanwhile, their third player is elsewhere. DRS basically fighting a 4v3 over here in Placeria. Can they make this one work? Because DRS are trying to go for the flank. Alu from underneath almost cuts Rehan, but he dips back in cover just in time. Has time for a medkit, but goes around the other side to pop it. They finally discover that Alu is in no position to harm them because Autobots have arrived on scene. So DRS now need to be worried about their backlines as well. And now finally BANGLA Unity are like, oh, thank goodness we sent one of our players to grab labs. At least, even if all of us die, we will have an insurance policy. Mad God, though, making out no insurance policies. He's cashing nothing out except for blood of his opponents. He's getting so many eliminations. And even BANGLA Unity are trying to get in there, but Autobots are very adamant about getting their own eliminations. Hunter finally puts Mad God down. He tries to get the shot onto Power as well, but that jumping MP5 spray helps him get that guy. And almost all of BANGLA Unity have been wiped out, except for Beerus, who's all the way in Grab Labs.
Well, good plan indeed. He managed to get 1,100 on the coins right there, managed to bring back a couple of players and loot up a few more. Autobots, though, they're not out of trouble just yet. After some of the revives that happened for their side, they do have a lot of elimination, but we've seen a lot, some of the teams just guarding the skies, waiting for the drop to happen. But speaking of drop, DRS has been dropping a little bit too early. Same goes with Team Falcons right now. And most of what they've done in this fight is just try and revive their teammates. And I'm again, similar to what you mentioned earlier onto the prediction, we might be questioning why we have Team Falcons out there. But out of 2 games, or so, let's say 2-day play day for the team, I'm pretty sure they have a good plan to catch up later on, because it's not really the number one that you need to take in onto this main event.
Yeah, I mean, Falcons, it's a rather uncharacteristic start for them. And even though they don't have the most explosive starts, at least they've never suffered this much in a battle. So, yeah, it's rather odd for them to be in this kind of a situation. But, hey, it's a new kind of lobby, so you need to get used to it. And now, getting used to the shots are Straw Hats. They knew the Demon Sprite around the corner, but they weren't close enough to provide each other backup. Neil thought that he would be just close enough to help out his teammate, but now he has to relinquish that area, get on the zipline, and pray for his life, because he's the only person from Straw Hats over here. His teammate is nowhere close to him, extra miles away. Neil tries to plug one of the teammates in, and he does get the res, but as soon as he purchases his teammates back, he is going to be destroyed.
Let's see, though. I mean, destruction mostly happened in this hot drop as well as early engagement, but I guess there's still a little bit of survivability for the teams right now. But Demon's Pride, great on them, getting those 6 elimination, but DRS still in trouble. Earlier, on the initial drop, they lost 2 players already, and I guess those revives not working for them. They couldn't find any position wherein they can take advantage of looting up, as well as taking against a team if in case they step into this battle. But Autobots' mission is not over just yet. DRS slowed them down just a little bit, but Grab Labs would be troublesome right now, especially for those who are trying to jump in and trying to defy gravity, because you will lose those accuracy on those jumps.
Oh, Power uses the vending machine. Great revive onto Mad God. Takuri and his teammate Prateek just trying to get the angles, but they can't. Prateek hears them on the other side of the glue walls. He's preparing himself. Tries to go for the reposition in a way where Power can't shoot him. Forced to use the dash early on and regroup with Takuri and Stroex. But wait, Stroex is going outside? He doesn't realize Prodigy's looking at that angle. He loses most of his HP and now gets finally shut down, forced out into the open, and Autobots secure the numbers advantage yet again.
Prodigy with a patient play on that shot. 10 elimination already for Autobots. And let's see if they will be able to continue and take down the rest of the squad from this Grab Labs, heading into next phase of the circle. But speaking of next phase of the circle, zones closing in for the first and to the second of this match. And DRS once again being taken down early in this fight. And they are having some real trouble for the real soldiers.
Yeah, didn't really need to pop that DRS and go into full race mode next time. Ha, F1 references. Apex Gaming, though, on the apex of this roof, taking shots at MAQNA Esports Club. And while they've got the knocks, I don't think they can go in for the full send yet. Virus retaliates by taking down KD God. Again, these just seem to be long-range knocks with very little potential of conversion, unless these guys go in for the full send. But that's the opposite of what MAQNA Esports Clubs are doing. They are running away from Apex Gaming. They use that launchpad and try to get some distance between them and Apex Gaming.
Well, let's see though. I mean, for Shoto, there's only 50 seconds remaining for this hit list, and this is one reason why Team Apex Gaming is pulling away from the engagement. But being pulled from this fight is BIGETRON by Vitality with 0, nada, zilch on elimination. I guess they spent so much of energy in Kalahari that they were taken out a little bit early in this fight, and it's just unfortunate. I think at this point with this kind of play, Team Apex Gaming might be able to pull away far from BTR.
Ooh, let's take a look at the map over here as you saw two teams down south outside the zone trying to fight each other. One of them was AUTOBOTZ. Map moved away before I could see who the other one was. Probably need to work on my own reflexes that way. But working on sneaky surprises and reflexes are going to be BANGLA Unity. They've already popped their more stealth bites and they're trying to get the jump onto Apex Gaming. But Apex Gaming finally walk out in the open. Wolvin has to pop that time turner hoping to survive. And he's got some backup in form of KD God, but KD God gets shot down by Hunter. Somehow Wolvin survives this way before KD God does. Sahil Chat comes through with the grenade launcher. Shoto with the shotgun doing really well. Wolvin with his swag 7 making some swaggy connections. And Hunter's also get taken down. Apex Gaming recover really well, and in a matter of seconds, they destroy the perpetrators.
Well, there you have it. Destroyed as well. BANGLA Unity. No for elimination. There's a lot of teams out here who are trying to go and perform, getting a few of those eliminations and be caught off guard. And we expect a lot of those numbers to go in. But the revive is also expected to happen because this is the map we're in. Most of the elimination happened because of the revives. But in the early parts, like 8 minutes into the game, there's 3 teams already annihilated. And we seldom see this in Nextera.
I mean, we seldom see things like these, but you also don't often see BTR getting eliminated very early on. So I guess it's just one of those maps where we're going to see stuff that we don't normally do.
Let's see. RQ, though, this is one of the plans that they often bring into the table, getting elevation. Even from Kalahari, they have that refinery platform, but now they're trying to build it with this Rustdown bridge. But they will be losing out on a few of those because the zone's closing in already. But I don't think they will be able to get the far away top 7-7 from behind. Didn't expect them to be chasing RQ. KAZU, it's a good thing Rans is quick in the feet, as well as having Nativa to pick up his teammates, Bay, quite quickly. Now, they are on guard, they are on point, and Maal might be able to shoot them down to give a chance for RQ to pull away. But again, taking the high ground or taking the bridge, heading into mortar ruins, as well as getting to the edge of the circle. It's a good plan for them next to that vending machine, just in case one of their players will be eliminated.
Ooh, RQ. You know that they want to have a high elimination game. That's why they're taking all these vantage points. That's why they're taking spots where they don't have to worry about their backlines. And from the edge of the circle, they should be able to focus a lot more on eliminations. HOTSHOTs, again, taking pot shots against MAQNA Esports Club. And I think MAQNA Esports Club have been getting into fights which are rather meaningless, to say the least. I mean, they're getting into these long-range battles where you can only exchange knocks, you cannot get confirmation, but oh my god, shocked. Just got shocked by the scare of his life. He knew that there's some people around the corner, but he didn't know Mad God was right there. So he passes the information to Xtrov, who is going berserk with that sniper. Getting so many knocks on the trot, instantly cutting down AUTOBOTZ in half. Johan now left standing at half HP on the top of the house. Meanwhile, they try to find Prodigy, but Prodigy is already out of there. Once again, AUTOBOTZ split up, hoping to survive, but I don't know if they'll be able to thrive with this. Just survival is not enough. 11 points is really cool, but Johan now is forced to pop that time turner.
Oh no.
Even the glue wall is about to be destroyed, so where will he potentially go?
I mean, it's difficult right now. Johan has nowhere to go, doesn't have a launch pad, and Shock on one side as well. The rest of the squad just waiting on the other, and Shocked. Well, definitely not shocked at what he's done because he was anticipating for that to happen. It took a while though. VSS on the long range does have the firepower, not so much of damage against those glue walls. But finally, they managed to get that elimination. But for the rest of the squad who's next or just close to the next phase of the circle, they will need to be ready because 11-minute mark, we're still having 9 teams in here and it will be very tight.
Yep. Not a lot of real estate left now as we head north of Zipway. There's very few compounds available and teams need to book those compounds before anything can happen. Oh, they're keeping KD God alive using that heal gun. Good job. Team Hind maintained their numbers. Meanwhile, Revenant XSPARK, they've got a nice compound to themselves and Falcons wants it. They want it desperately, but they must not overextend because AUTOBOTZ also taking shots at them. So Han and Kunal turn the tide. They use the grenade launcher, and Kunal, he destroys Ratcha as well. Once again, Limit X7 left all by himself. And he thought that he was not safe over here. He thought he would be more comfortable, more safe in Revenant XSPARK's compound. But forcing that fight was the biggest mistake Falcons made. So now he has to just stay alive in this tiny 2-inch corner and hope that nobody looks at him and he's finally forced to move out.
Well, it's similar story that we've seen earlier in Kalahari. Limit X7 with a final guy, the rest of the squad being eliminated. Now, they do have elimination, but it's not enough. This is not the signature that we expect from Team Falcons, especially from some of the games that we've seen before the actual fight, wherein they rack up a lot of points, but this is where it really matters. 5 elimination, 5 points already. Limit X7 still doing some sniping against Aswab from Demon's Pride, but will he be able to revive the rest of the squad because he needs the numbers out here?
Ooh, and the numbers really not helping out Revenant XSPARK because they also keep getting shot. Oh, RRQ finally find Falcons. RRQ seem to be that team that is lapping up the remainder of whatever is left. They seem to be lapping up all the people who are struggling to get in there. You know, even Revenant XSPARK have lost so many of their players, and it's thanks to RRQ. But here comes the full send. It's Straw Hats versus AUTOBOTZ, who trying to get up top, hoping to get the angles, but MadGod will go for the spray against Shocked. Extra with that Car 98 is just so good. 2 eliminations confirmed. And in a matter of seconds, Straw Hats have almost destroyed AUTOBOTZ. But wait, MAQNA Esports Club wants a piece of the pie. No. They got the knock onto Nil. They get the confirmation onto Who. And Extra has to run to the vending machine. Even though he has to tank a lot of damage, he's got no choice. And while these two teams are fighting each other, RRQ recognize that nobody can third party on the fight between them and Revenant XSPARK, so they also force the issue.
Lucido being forced right now to be taken down. Revenant XSPARK, Riptide Rhythm inside, and Vincent almost being annihilated, now forced to use his medkit, and RRQ still on point to snipe him or shoot him down the moment he steps out of that compound. And there's also a trouble off that lightning zone, but from downtown, RRQ is being dealt with, first with the Riptide Rhythm, and now the jump. It's Team Apex Gaming right now, being the Apex Predator in this fight. Will they be able to take the angle against RRQ though? The God Nade coming from 18 Deer. This might be the downfall of the Booyah Takers from the earlier game.
Yeah, Apex Gaming getting pressured on the edge of the zone. HOTSHOT Esports hot on their heels, not letting them breathe even a little bit. Ooh. And while all of this is happening, at least RRQ are no longer focusing on this fight, so Apex Gaming have the bandwidth to reset their fight against HOTSHOT. All the HOTSHOT members inside the single time turner, and you get that Sergeant diving right inside. Wolvin getting his shotgun connections, and Sahiljat has to somehow recover. They instantly pop the reinforced glue UAV and go for the res onto Wolvin, but while they are doing so, HOTSHOT Esports have also recovered. Another flash freeze, taking them away, slowly, cryogenically freezing them, but the heal UAV pop by HOTSHOTs puts them back at fighting stage. And while all of this is happening, Apex Gaming taking way too much damage from the zone. HOTSHOT Esports are running across, and they're blocking the way for Apex Gaming. It's all up to Sahiljat. He cannot do much over here, as Leo has his number. He makes the jump shot, but he can't win. But in this battle, even Leo is the last one standing for HOTSHOTs, and even AUTOBOTZ have been completely completely ruined in that clash. It's a game set for RRQ, served to them on a single silver platter, and it's all down to Leo. Impossible odds stacked against him. They hunt him outside the zone, and RRQ win the second game of the day.
Well, second game, but massive numbers from RRQ KAZU. That's 20 elimination coming from the squad together with that Booyah, and I think it adds up to around or close to 50 points. And this is a chance really for them to catch up to numbers, if not beat Team Apex Gaming. Because even from the final moment, we saw that the struggle is real for them. They try to go for the fight against HOTSHOTs, but it's just very difficult on that edge of the circle. It's not only lightning zone, it's not only the pressure coming from HOTSHOTs, but also the blue that's eating up their HP. And they try to force themselves in. This rotation, this is where Wolvin as well as Shoto has made that mistake, trying to capitalize on getting position before the Riptide Rhythm, but they are delayed once that zone shrinks, and they're out in the open as well as being gunned down by RQ.
Yeah, RRQ really going around the edges of the zone and just maintaining the advantages against their opponents at every single moment. They know which one to prioritize. They first fought against REVENANT XSPARK, reduced them down to a one-man unit. Then they almost pressured Apex Gaming as well before they realized, hey, Apex Gaming doesn't need our attention. HOTSHOTs will deal with them. Let's go deal with MAQNA Esports first. And that way, RRQ KAZU was able to relieve so much of the pressure on the southern side of that circle, because they knew exactly which opponent has what kind of bandwidth and which target to prioritize. That decision making from RRQ KAZU gets them the Booyah with 20 eliminations.
Well, it's a good thing that there's a lot of teams catching up after some of the downfalls that happened from the first game. RQ KAZU is one of those. Only got 14 points from the earlier game, and now they have a massive 32 bomber of a match. And AUTOBOTZ, though, they only got 7 points earlier. Now they got 21. A lot of teams catching up, but one of the most consistent would be, especially on the top of the board, would be HOTSHOTs, because yes, they didn't get so much elimination in Kalahari, but they were able to get 7 placement point, and now second into Nextera on this fight. And I believe this is a good chance for HOTSHOTs to slowly build their way on the top of the leaderboard by the end of the day and be in a comfortable spot. And there you have it. Today's standings with a total between Kalahari, or with Kalahari and Nextera into the mix.
Yeah, RRQ KAZU having decent performances on Kalahari and winning the game over here in Nextera puts them on top with 46 points. Even Apex Gaming, for that matter, they had their roles reversed with RRQ. You know, they had a great game in the Booyah in the first one, and then decent performance in second puts them at 40. REVENANT XSPARK always getting into the top 3 somehow, maybe if not top 3 then at least top 5, but still missing those placement points by quite a lot, and surviving only on eliminations. They have 31 points in total. AUTOBOTZ, what can I say? These guys have been forcing every single fight, sometimes end up overheating, and that's why they're stuck at 28 points exclusively.
Well, that's one thing now. For both the REVENANT XSPARK as well AUTOBOTZ, it's a good thing that they're stacking up in numbers, ending up on a 3rd and 4th. Because place in mind, I do agree with you. It's only in some instances, especially for AUTOBOTZ, that they managed to get a huge placement. It's only in that Nextera that they ended up on the 3rd place. But the game MVP, Maal, the sniper of RQ KAZU, with 5 elimination, 4,507 in damage, 5 assists, and you mentioned about the Skylar, the Riptide Rhythm. It's also being introduced, and he knows for a fact that moments were in final circles happening. A lot of glue walls is up. This is where you can use that Riptide Rhythm, a couple of Riptide Rhythm, but beforehand they also plan on reviving their teammates. Thus they have that Susie for them for the money mark, and a couple of standard build on a passive like a Maro and Moko. And no question that Maal will be the MVP because of how well he managed to get those fights, not only the long range but also the mid with that AWM.
All doing really well for his team. 4,500 damage is amazing. And he didn't just get 5 eliminations, but he also got 5 assists as well. And if you take a look at his team, they have quite a lot of min-maxing going on over here. You've got Abai with Oscar. He's using the Yusuf, JBeems, Nikita. A lot of people who use this approach now, I see them use Nikita, JBeems, Joseph, and Reki in this exact same doing. But the rest of his teammates, as you can see, RRQ, have also prioritized the Steffi over something like Chrono. The only difference between them and Apex Gaming is that they don't use the enhanced hammer. When they use Steffi, they use the Tiva along with it for fast reses, and they all see for survival.
So I would say for the Steffi use, it's more of a double purpose. It's not only to invalidate those throwables. They're also they also add more on restoring the armaments in this fight. So let's see. I mean, I'm seeing that this is a viable replacement for that. It's viable replacement for that Chronos time turner, getting more of the armor, getting reduced damage in that painted refuge, which makes that Steffi more viable in this fight. Well,
that is some really impressive damage, by the way. Mal with 4,500, and the rest of his teammates dwarfed by his own performance. 1,800 on Ranzi, then you have 18 here on 1,108 damage. It's ridiculous how much he was doing all by himself.
Yeah, I mean, let's see though. On to rotation of team, especially in this circle analysis, we're going to see how some managed to or try to survive in their rotation, but RRQ, they are just staying in the edge of the circle, trying to get elevation, similarly from what we've seen when they jump into Rust Town, trying to be chased by Demon's Pride into Mortar Ruins, and from then on, they were just waiting. They're just waiting for opportunities to snipe out their opponents and not even get close to them. And from that final circle, they don't have to move that much. They just have to continue anticipating where the shift will be happening, and even in that final team versus team moment, they don't have to shift with the circle. They just waited for everyone to gun against them and that shoot them down.
Yeah, and it's all about executing that, shooting them down, the patience for the gunning. It's all about getting that timing right. I'm really impressed by how RRQ can prioritize their targets over here, because there were so many targets to pick and choose from. They already dealt with Revenant XSPARK very early on in that fight inside the wooden house, forcing them to just stay alive with like one member. And then after that, they almost got into the battle between Apex Gaming as well as HOTSHOTs, but then they were like, nope, I think we have better problems to worry about. We have bigger fish to fry. So they went and dealt with AUTOBOTZ and MAQNA Esports Club.
Well, frying fish, it gets me hungry right now, but there's only a couple of teams that is hungry for a hot drop. It's Straw Hats as well as BIGETRON by Vitality. If we're looking at the preferred drop spot, both of them are planning to go into Mill. And I guess Bermuda is one of those maps wherein not so much of hot drops would be happening. With the familiarity that they have in this map, they can spread around. They can even choose to get close or drop close to a team, but the exit strategy would be done so fast. So I'm really loving this preferred drop spot, but I also love a little bit of the chaos into the mix right now. For those catching up in numbers like Team Falcons or DRS Gaming, let's include MAQNA Esports Club as well, can rack up on elimination before they get taken down.
Woo! I am very excited to see this one, because I've barely seen Mill drop clashes in a long time. At least in the previous season of the FFMAI, we used to see a lot of clashes in Observe and Graveyard for that matter, but it's been a while since I've seen a Mill drop clash, so let's see what's gonna happen. I am going for some really safe predictions once again. I think I always tend to do this on the first day. I tend to get bolder with my predictions as the games progress and as the day goes on, but for now, let's take a look at the caster predictions. And to my dismay, I really thought that Falcons would be able to perform once again. I think it's a bit too late for me to change my predictions now, considering I've already locked them in. So yeah, even though I was very confident about my Falcons pick at the start of this day, I am starting to feel a little shaky about them right now.
Well, as one thing, just to set the expectation, I didn't change my RRQ, my pick to RRQ. It just so happens that they do have performance when it comes to this map. So they managed to get 3 Booyahs as well as close to 100 points when they were playing Southeast Asia Spring. Team Falcons is somewhat the same. Thus, they're still in here. But I'm really looking forward to Straw Hats right now. No Booyahs, no problem. 55 in points when they step in here from South Asia Play-ins. And we're talking about this groupings of BNC. They're on top of the board without any Booyahs out of these teams. So really looking forward to how they're going to play it out, but looking to drop from Shipyard, and I believe a lot will be dropping early, taking Shipyard, Bullseye, and Graveyard. Let's include Observatory as well. They are heading into Mars Electric. No one is gearing towards the eastern side just yet, but let's see if that might change, because HOTSHOTs might be taking peak, but they can also get to Kotatua just as easily as that.
Yep. And I think there's a potential 3-way clash in Kataluistawa, because you got Autobots over here along with Straw Hats as well as Demon's Pride. Now at least Straw Hats have gone for risk minimization. They send extra up towards Riverside so that they go for a 3-1 split. Similarly with Demon's Pride, they have multiple members in Kataluistawa, but one of them going towards Bhima Shakti. Meanwhile, Straw Hats versus Autobots versus Demon's Pride in Kataluistawa. This battle is on, and the only team who have all of their chips in this basket are going to be Autobots, all 4 of them present over here. Mad God gets the res onto Prodigy almost instantly. Shocked Neil still trying to hide, but Mad God finds the angle onto Neil, and they are yet to discover Shocked. They know that he's still somewhere inside the house, but they can't go out of the house to find that guy because Shocked is got. And finally it's Johan who gets out and breaks through the barricade, who once again gets res. God's work right now to keep Straw Hats in this game. But Autobots, despite having advantages, are starting to fall like flies. And they have exited this entire region entirely. Straw Hats now have a bigger threat, Neptune. There's Falcons coming in.
Oh, even before Falcons managed to step in, a couple of players would be joining the fray. A couple of players from Demon's Pride as well as XSPARK. So there's just a lot of problems that they are facing right now. And here comes Team Falcons. We just saw them in Horizon. We just saw them in the minimap, but we didn't expect XSPARK as well as Demon's Pride to be in Kataluistawa. So binoculars being used to scan out the opponent, but I don't think they will be aggressive, especially for XSPARK, because they need to revive one of their teammates. But yet again, for the 3rd time, the real soldiers being annihilated, being eliminated in 12th place.
Yep, for the real soldiers, this is a real problem. Oh, yeah. Revenant XSPARK, though, they are trying to turn this spark into a wildfire by getting up close and personal with Falcons. They know Kiloro can't really hurt them if they're right under his house, so they try to get inside that hut. Sohan, Kunal, they're both trying to force the issue, but look who's here. Even BIGETRON by Vitality have arrived on scene, so this is a 5th party situation. Another knock from Deeks, and this time Kiloro is down. Racha and Limit X7 trying desperately to wrap up the fight against Revenant XSPARK as quickly as they can, but Sohan wins the battle against Koja. Dips out of the time turner so that he can juke out Deeks, but Deeks will still win that battle. And at least Revenant XSPARK have already gone up towards the bullseye vending machine so they can get the res onto their players. So one party dips out of the Kataluistawa fight, but BIGETRON by Vitality still want their pound of flesh. They still want to hunt down Falcons. And I think I was underestimating it when you said, Neptune, that they are the Falcon hunters. Damn, I'm starting to see why they take it so personally right now.
Oh, well, let's see now. Dix has been taken down by Limit X7 with that M24. And yeah, I know, like from the first time that we saw BIGETRON by Vitality, the first team that he went against and also has been hunting every drop, every rotation is just Team Falcons. And since there's not so much of those coming from Southeast Asia right now, within this mix, they can do it once again. A couple of players from BTR splitting up and isolating Ratia and Pina. But the moment that Kyong gets damaged, even as he is connected with that basic therapy, they are being pushed away. Koja being left to go solo, and he gets taken out. Kyong follows, and Dix and Bank will just be dropping far away. But who will be saying hello? It's Raw Hats back into the mix, going for revenge, but this is not the team that they were fighting against earlier. This is not Autobots. This is a new contender in Kataluistawa.
Yep, and even REVENANT XSPARK have come back into this fight. They are here for round 2. Falcons, after successfully pushing BIGETRON by Vitality away from this spot by forcing them to go elsewhere for the reses, are now trying to re-engage and split up so that they can get as many angles across REVENANT XSPARK. Ratcha is keeping an eye onto Kunal. He knows that there's some people inside that house. He sees the crossing, tries to take a shot, but it does work out for them. They make it to the vending machine yet again, and REVENANT XSPARK continue getting the reses. Now Pina and Ratcha, knowing not got much, knowing that they're just a two-man unit, forced this issue against REVENANT XSPARK. They both are just staring daggers at each other. They both are looking at each other's windows with the TPP, and whoever flinches first will probably lose this one.
Oh. Well, I guess this is one reason why Team Falcons is not really moving that much is because a couple of their players are far away, probably in trouble. It's a good thing that they managed to squeeze at least one revive, but Pina might be in trouble. The Knuckler's only spots one, and a shot from Sohan. It didn't even see him pull out that gun, but you know how it is with the movement. M590 is deadly even on the mid-range, but they felt a little bit of wrath from Straw Hats right there, who's taking the bridge. So this is a deadly position coming from REVENANT XSPARK right now. They might be caught off guard, so they need to get an angle to break down the defenses, or the offense rather, of Straw Hats. But going back to what Team Falcons is doing, they're just on a revival spree, but the difference this time is they have more elimination compared to the first 2 games.
This is not a disastrous game for Falcons. They finally start to get their footing, 7 getting all, and yeah, they were win against REVENANT XSPARK, but they also lost a couple of BTR.
Let's see, RQ in Clock Tower right now might be able to spot out one player from HOTSHOT's. Actions is thus in there. The corner is shot by a Bay. It's a good thing they're checking their corners, but it's that heal UAV as well that makes them a little bit too aggressive. 18T are being taken down from far. Not quite sure if pickup can be done, but Demon's Pride definitely taking pride of their position, not really engaging, not really getting close against RQ, and that forces RQ as well to stay in Clock Tower. They have a compound to work with. They also have a lot of covers, but going into the other side, as we switch into Hangar, it's Autobots being dealt with by REVENANT XSPARK, and both has received a couple of knockdowns as well. Mad God has the elevation, but because he needs to heal up, he will be distracted and not really far against REVENANT XSPARK, and Kunal will be surviving. Go for the pickup for the rest of the squad, and this might spell trouble for Autobots right now.
Oh, but it doesn't do much. Sohan, I think he's got good amount of shots in him. I mean, he's feeling the fire today. People were doubting this lineup change over here, especially when Arsh and Sohan were supposed to play together. People were doubting whether or not they still have as much firepower as XDivine, but it seems like these guys are holding their ground. Meanwhile, speaking of holding ground, MAQNA Esports is getting trampled upon. RRQ destroyed them in a matter of seconds.
Bro, this has been a problem for MAQNA Esports in this competition alone. The first 3 games, and the moment that one of their players, a couple of players will be taken down and being spotted as well, seems like they don't have any defense strategy, and they are just faltering. Like all 3 games, 3 out of 3 so far. And that's what they need to fix. And it's not only in this Free Fire Max Asia Invitational, even in the Southeast Asia Spring or the regional matches, this is one of the problems that's happening right now. But again, there's still a few of those probably first day jitters that they're experiencing right now. But for those who have that South Asia play-ins experience, they might be bringing the fire. Again, Team Apex Gaming, after getting the Booyah, being eliminated early in this fight, they can bring down Demon's Pride. And what a nade being received by Madara. Almost knocked him down, but this is isolation game being done by Apex Gaming. But it's unfortunate that KD God will be knocked down.
Wolven Sahiljat forced to carry on the torch, carry on the baton. The nading from Sahiljat has been phenomenal so far. But look at Wolven, he sees their feet, but still not enough damage. Jazzy wins the duel with the Bison, and Sahiljat has to fight this 1v2. He's trying to go around the other side, but while this is happening, Demon's Pride have surrounded him in every angle. Great effort, great attempt, but it's still not enough. Demon's Pride win this battle.
Oh, Apex Gaming, I was just hyping them on. I was just complimenting what they've done so far, and they could have done a lot in there. It's the isolation that was turned around by Demon's Pride. The good thing as well that Demon's Pride backed away from perfect timing, use those glue walls, and stick together. And that forced Team Apex Gaming to spread out and got knocked down. And even with a potential clutch, with the numbers, Demon's Pride would still be winning that battle. But look at that response against that lining zone that is being brought in by HOTSHOTs right now. They went to the edge, don't want to be damaged that much, and they're on their way in the next phase of the circle as HOTSHOTs is now dealing with BANGLA Unity, and BANGLA Unity needs to move fast because the zone's closing in and they don't want to be taken out that easily. They even bring the Bolt Maker, and HOTSHOTs is in trouble.
Oop. Tell me a time when they haven't been in trouble. HOTSHOTs beat us dead. That's a deadly knock. Damn. Luckily, Anas has that Morse available, so he can make his run to the vending machine. He needs to get there as quickly as his nimble little feet can carry him.
No.
Ditches the horse. He's like, nope, I'd rather use the Morse instead of the horse. But he doesn't have enough money, so he can only get actions in.
Yeah, it's only one revive out there. He could have used the horse, move around like outside of the safe zone. I believe they do have a team booster that could save him, but like 1 out of 3 surviving. And if you're not the one who has a team booster, then yes, good luck to you. BIGETRON though, not too aggressive, but now they're working with survivability. Shots from behind and still manage to recover, just using everything so that they can heal up, not being taken down by the zone as well. But there's still a long run to go. REVENANT XSPARK dealing with some players of Straw Hat, and X-Rob might be gunned down. A little bit of a great movement coming from X-Rob, but the moment that he spots out where he is dropping, he just went in one direction, giving an opportunity for REVENANT XSPARK to shoot him down.
Yeah, but REVENANT XSPARK have only one thing going against them. They are the ones outside the zone, and they can get gatekeeped by Straw Hats. But if Sohan keeps on firing and getting all these knocks onto Straw Hats, then REVENANT XSPARK will be able to cover this gap in no time. Just behind the arsenal, time for REVENANT XSPARK to start sending in their throwables. Melter smack in the center of the arsenal. Meanwhile, they try to get inside. Sohan jumping around and popping the time turner right in the middle, hoping to isolate those fights. But Arsh is the one who gets the knock. Sohan can be picked up, but Shocked is trying to make sure he gets that confirmation. He gets one more knock. Vincent taken down. Arsh finally has to step in. The superhero keeps his team alive, but REVENANT XSPARK still take way too much damage from the zone. And BIGETRON are right there.
And there you have it, Kunal being gunned down. And there's one problem. With the update that has been done on that arsenal, weapons arsenal, you won't be safe anymore. Those glass, those sides can be shut down. And now BTR is trying to recover from what happened earlier. Koja on the ground, but Arsh managed to go for knockdowns. Just unfortunate, doesn't have enough HP. But Riptide Rhythm, Glue Wall Melters, Vincent trying to knock them down in spite of going solo, but a backstab coming for a Siben. And there goes the Savior Squad once again. With 11 elimination, Koja can be revived, but there's still trouble up ahead. It's Team FALCONS is shooting at them.
FALCONS versus BIGETRON. This is a rivalry as old as time itself, but this time BIGETRON are on the back foot, surrounded by the blue zone, need to get inside to safety, and there's no place safe when Racha is firing upon you with that cord from afar. Yes, they've got enough survivability available abilities, but yeah, this is just a little too much, and Seabank, just as he was about to get res, bleeds out right in Koja's arms.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate they don't have any heal pistol to work with, because in most cases, even from a distance, even if you don't want to be spotted by your opponent, you can use a heal pistol to revive your teammate as well as add more HP, and if it blows, even if the blue is eating up on bringing you a little bit of damage, you can extend that revive. But Maal with a shot against Team Falcons. Pina didn't expect that to be coming from Rimnam Village, but you know what it is. Rimnam Village is the hometown of RQ in Bermuda, and you should expect a shutdown coming from that squad, but it pulls away from both teams, or both of the teams within this area. It's only Autobots who might be safe on the next shift.
Autobots, they are currently inside the zone, but I think RRQ will target them first. Meanwhile, on the top of the hill, you've got Demon Sprite versus BIGETRON versus Falcons. Deeks is surviving on his last legs. How is he still alive? Not for much longer, as Pina finally guns him down mercilessly. It's all up to Koja, and he's hoping that nobody discovers him. He's hoping that Falcons end up fighting Demon Sprite over here, but if there's a target in front of you, he cannot resist. Aswab was standing still over there, so Koja tries to take a shot against him, but now that he's revealed his position, Demon Sprite are going to avoid that place entirely and race into the zone against Bangla Unity, and Koja has to race through between all of them, dodging the bullets, dodging the blue. He can't hold on, and Bangla Unity eliminate BIGETRON.
Well, let's see, though, Bangla Unity did get that elimination, but they are slowly losing their teammates, and it's Demon Sprite who managed to get ahead of them. Despite of the lightning zone, they are just running and gunning for this compound. Johan almost being taken out. If it wasn't for the timing, he would have been on the ground already on his knees. Limit X7 will be taken down. Raihan, no need saving from this guy. He's the one who would beat them down. But going solo against RQ, you need to back away. And he got tagged out with an ice grenade. And RQ continuing that fight, continuing the dominance after the previous game.
Yeah, it seems like they want to go for the two-piece. They want to go for the back-to-back booyah again. But the zone shifts right in their favor. That will force Autobots and Demon Sprite to come towards them. Poor Pina, he's also been discovered. This nade is being tossed at him. So, yeah, he just has to use the glue wall and somehow block it. Similarly for Autobots, they're using the glue walls to keep themselves alive. Basically turn that little hut into a fortress. But Demon Sprite are knocking on the doors. They're like the bed-bad wolf knocking on the wooden piggy's house, and they want to huff and puff, and they want to blow it away! A swap with the grenade destroys Autobots!
Yeah, I mean, huff and puff and blow that M79 on their heads. That is what they did at that point. Team Falcons, only one player remaining, and we thought there's a chance for them to really bring it on. Unfortunately, they got eliminated, not getting the Booyah, but RQ, good chance to get that back-to-back. Only 3 players to deal with against the Demon's Pride. Bay goes in for the push and takes down the Swab, and Isolation once again going into play, and they use that Steppy to recover a little bit, and it's RRQ getting the back-to-back booyah and taking that #1 spot once again.
Why are they not excited at all? Look at this. Okay,
It's
yeah,
another day in
finally,
the office,
some
bro.
handshakes. Exactly, it's another day in the office. Mal is just casually scratching his arm. The other guys are like, yeah, let me have a sip of water. No excitement on their faces. This is basically bare minimum stimulation for them. They need a lot more to finally feel some excitement. That guy is just out there yawning as if he's bored. Sheesh. Aren't you this nonchalant all the time? That makes me concerned for all the other teams.
No, it's more of probably the focus that they have. There's no time to really celebrate just yet, unless they probably end the day. Because yes, they have the 2 back-to-back booyahs, they have huge elimination already, but it's just that there's a lot of instances wherein they celebrate it a little bit early. They think that they will be the one stopping the board, and this is not even the grand final. So what more if they've received a lot of damage and even early elimination on the grand final? So you would see more of what you've seen in that camera. But let's celebrate for them. They don't want to celebrate. RQ KAZU for the back-to-back booyah, and that's 2 out of 3 already in this day #1 of the main event.
66% win rate so far. and RRQ are not even breaking a sweat while all the other teams are they're sweating buckets over here, man.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, 30 bomb for them again. Casually dropping 30s as if it's no big deal. I'm pretty sure they must have almost acquired 80 points already. I'm bad at math, but damn, they're very close to the 100-point marker. Falcons finally having a decent game. Finally getting 23 points, 15 eliminations. It's pretty good considering that the last 2 games were very shaky for them. Demon Sprite continue to be consistent. Bigetron by Vitality continue to be consistent. 21 and 16 points for them respectively. In fact, this is the first time BANGLA Unity are actually tied up with Bigetron with 16 points each. And surprisingly, amidst all of this, even though REVENANT XSPARK often find themselves eliminated at the 5th or 6th spot, they still manage to get more than 10 points in every single game. So they are also being consistent. 15 for them in this game.
Talk about consistency for REVENANT XSPARK. 3 games in a row that they have 4 placement points. So 3 games in a row, same position of being eliminated. And talk about consistency. Well, I don't know if that's good, but there's one thing I would say. RQ KAZU being consistent with a Booyah and an MVP this time around. Or I believe once again would be, no, it was Ma'al earlier. Now it's a Bay, and they're still using that Valiant Dash together with Nikita, J-Beebs, and Joseph. And you did mention that the combination of that that Valiant Dash with a Dreki is good. We've seen them. We keep seeing them all throughout. 6 elimination, 3,730 on a damage, and 7 assists. Now we're going to see as well if there was any change for the team in terms of their build right now, because I don't expect anything to change because there's still similar approach from the Nextera and Bermuda.
Yeah, the similar approach from Nextera and Bermuda for RRQ over here. They use that Cassie, great survivability. I mean, that being said, though, they didn't even take that much damage this time. So it's not like the Cassie was like a game changer for them. They barely ever got into trouble where they had more than 3 of their players down and they had to then, run away and get a res or something. Even the Steffi, for that matter, would have been very helpful if they had it in the last circle. But I don't know if they used the Steffi, but I don't think they needed it. They weren't the ones getting bombarded. They were the ones doing the bombarding. And the one team that actually had access to a grenade launcher, Demon Sprite, they used it to blow up Autobots. When they tried to use it against RRQ, it just did not work. RRQ are in their faces, dashing up, breaking their ankles, forcing them to go for 180s, and RRQ are just really good that way. When they decide to full send onto you, you better pray and hold on.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, they managed to pull off that Steffi, but there's like really no use to it. But I get where you're coming from, because if you've seen that elimination coming from Demon's Pride, we know the sound, or they know the sound of that like that M79 grenade launcher, so they would expect that it will be used against them. But it's just in the final moment, there's only a couple of players that need to be dealt with. They just need a little bit of armor on them before they go for the push, and they just got the Booyah. But looking at the numbers spread across Ma'al, not given so much of elimination, but look at the damage, quite even from everyone other than Rans, who might have been stealing away all those elimination or all those knockdowns against his teammates.
Yeah, runs. I mean, some people call it stealing elimination, some people call it providing cover, but RRQ are
it's
fighting
for
as
me
a
stealing.
unit. All right.
It's criminal.
Fair enough. So in the court of Neptune, these players will be punished by death. But in the battlefield of Bermuda, these guys will be rewarded with a back-to-back Booyah. And look at how much Falcons were moving around, man. I mean, they stayed their ground outside the zone, from Observatory to Bullseye to Cataluistwa to back to Observatory, and then finally they went towards Rimnam Village only when they realized the circle is going to be over there. So yeah, RRQ and Falcons, both of them moving around quite a lot. And RRQ getting quite a lot of eliminations in the first 2 circles, but then they had a rather slow mid-game in the 4th and 5th circle, you know, when they were holding at the bottom of the Rimnam Village while all the other teams were fighting on the top of the hill. they finally activate their aggression in that last few moments and get 7 eliminations in the final circle to win the game.
Yeah, I mean, since their drop is initially in REVENANT Village, the moment that they saw that shift is already going in to their side, there's really not so much of movement that they have. They know exactly what position they would take if they're in REVENANT, and as those small huts is being taken by a lot of teams, that's where they slowly build into elimination. And in most cases, if your drop is where the final circle is heading, you don't get that much in terms of numbers, but not in the case of RQ, because they do have a sniper like Maal and a great frontliner as well who can switch it up with those long-range weapons. Thus, they managed to squeeze in 18 elimination plus that booyah.
Yeah, and even before they settled into that little area in REVENANT Village, they were still going around aggressively and trying to pick up fights wherever they have the opportunity.
Yeah.
And never once did they enter a fight where they did not have the advantage. They never basically offered a fair fight or fair 4v4 to their opponents. Always third-partying from afar or always stealing eliminations away. I remember that when BIGETRON were moving away from FALCONS, or rather, sorry, it was the other way around, and FALCONS were moving away from BIGETRON. One of them was intercepted by RRQ, the other one was intercepted by Straw Hat. So yeah, RRQ were all over the map, at least in the first 2 circles, looking for all those fights, looking for all those eliminations, and only when they realized that, hey, yeah, we will have a good amount of advantage if the circle heads over towards our home turf in REVENANT Village, and we know this area better than everyone, that's when they decided to settle back into those beautiful, the beautiful huts propped up on the beaches with wooden stilts.
Yeah, and you did mention their Team Falcons. I don't know if it's the familiarity of Bermuda, but because of the unfortunate events that happened in Kalahari and Nextera, wherein it's only Luminex 7 trying to make them survive. And if I believe Bermuda also was in that same position, but they just know how to recover, and then they pulled back, and then got a lot of elimination. Those engagement managed to get the 3rd place. But hopefully this is a good trend for Team Falcons to be able to catch up, because fans out there, even us, we don't expect this to happen for Team Falcons, and this is a good chance for them halfway through to study their opponents and get all those numbers in.
Yeah, and speaking of numbers, even AUTOBOTZ are getting a bunch of numbers in. They're getting a lot of eliminations, but at quite a lot of cost to their money. Like, they get a lot of eliminations, but they also lose a lot of their members. So they are trapped in this perpetual cycle of going for the reses again and again. And speaking of perpetual cycles, REVENANT XSPARK are trapped in the perpetual 5th place. So let's see if these teams can break out of the curses in the second half of the day, and we will be back with that after a short break.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, survivors of all ages. This is the Free Fire Max Asia Invitational 2026 Summer. Here to find out who gets crowned by fire. This is the main week, and after 3 games, Indonesia, RRQ KAZU is dominating the leaderboard with a decent lead up at the top. But of course, you've got the Indians right behind them. Team Apex Gaming, REVENANT, XSPARK looking for the top, and slowly but surely, the Falcons are rising. They are lurking. They're looking to take over. But you want to know who's taking over first? It's your boys, Lucifer and Mustachio, taking over the caster's desk. Welcome back, Lucifer.
It is an exciting main event to start off. While yes, the South Asian boys, they started off, got their booyah off to a rocking start, and now the Southeast Asians, Indonesia and RRQ KAZU, and I think they had to do it, right, AJ? The main reason being they've been looking forward to these titles for themselves. They've been trying hitting there, and especially after seeing Deva United Horus do it in the last season of spring, they're like, this is our chance now. We'll take it home once again.
Nah, but I think the South Asians are getting pissed off, man. I mean, 2 seasons in a row, the Southeast Asians have taken it. They've run away with it. This time, I think they want to make some noise. But just when the South Asians were catching up to the quality of the Southeast Asians that we brought in the past 2 seasons, we just decided to bring even bigger, badder Southeast Asian teams. Yeah. We've got the best of the best, and RRQ is not giving anybody face out there so far. But I like the fact that it's not just painted in stone just yet, right? The Southeast Asia is going to dominate. Anything can happen, and Lucifer, I think all of the craziness that we saw in the South Asia Plains is going to play out here as well. I still have a lot of faith in the South Asian teams, because if you thought the South Asian teams who qualified from, for example, Pakistan, Bangladesh were good in the play-ins, man, you've got the top of the charts in here in the main week. I can't wait to see what else they've got to bring. I mean, Demon's Pride, 3 games in a row. I think their placement points have been pretty decent, but more importantly, their eliminations have been solid, Lucifer.
Yeah, I mean, teams from Pakistan in general itself, right? This is their 2nd season in FFMAI, and already off to such a great start. HOTSHOT just blew us off the board in the South Asia Plains, and that being continued by Demon's Pride is just incredible. And that tells us, right, the South Asian teams are now looking and hunting for this title. 2 seasons, Southeast Asians have taken it, they've run away with it, and never it felt like the South Asians were closer, but this time it has been a toe-to-toe matchup. While we already spoke about RRQ KAZU, right, they are the only team at that top podium. After that, we just see the South Asian teams coming in, and then at the 5th spot is BIGETRON by Vitality. But while we go towards the overall standings later for the day, let's take a look at the preferred drop spots. And okay. 5 teams at TV Tower. Okay.
Delta Isle's gonna have 2 squads as well, RRQ as well as the one and only Demon's Pride. They can pride themselves in whooping butt out there so far, but I don't know if they're gonna get very far up against RRQ unless they take a split drop, right? And let's not even start on the conversation of TV Tower. There is a potential 5-way hot drop here. And man, after seeing what happened at the South Asia Plains, I dare not say this will not happen. This can definitely happen, Lucifer.
It can definitely happen. Teams have shown us that. They've never told us that, hey, listen, this is going to be us trying to take a safe run here in the South Asia Plains or in FFMAI 2026 Summer. Everybody has gone for it throughout from the start. Whether they're having a good day or a bad day, it doesn't matter. They challenge their opponents in the same mindset of winning that particular game. And undoubtedly, I think TV Tower should be a contest that teams would try to challenge. One thing, yes, I just hope, fingers crossed, just like I've been seeing the first 3 games, right? A team getting eliminated in the very first. And I think that goes to, unfortunately, the team from Nepal. I hope that changes. We've been wishing for that. Is one region in South Asia that we've been wishing that their teams start qualifying, make a mark, make a dent. DRS here, unfortunately, yet not working.
Yeah, the Rail Soldiers are not ready for the big battle just yet, but let's see if or not they wake up in the remaining 3 games. We've got our predictions here, Lucifer, for this next game, and we all know that predictions don't mean anything sometimes, but sometimes they mean everything. What is it going to mean? Absolutely nothing. Okay.
Only when we get it right, it means something.
Yeah, no, not even then, day. We have got no favorites. But we think, based on the performance of the squad so far, these three squads might get to that final circle and pull away some decent numbers for themselves. Let's see exactly who are the three you and I think. I think Falcons, BIGETRON by Vitality, as well as Apex, the Apex Gaming, to just step on into that final circle is not going to be an impossible thing, right? They've already proven themselves so far, but they have faltered too many times. I mean, Falcons are somewhere down at the bottom of the 12 teams, which is a little surprising. I expect them to wake up in the final 3 games.
I think so too, but on the other end, I've gone in for REVENANT, XSPARK and AUTOBOTZ. They've gotten closer. REVENANT, XSPARK, just that fights that they want to conclude at the edge of the zone is not working in their favor. They should be able to figure it out, and I think the safest of all the picks between those three is going to be RRQ KAZU. They've done it in the first 3 games. They've picked up 2 booyahs, and now going towards game number 4, it should be a decent one. And like even Crips, right? They didn't even bat an eye on those booyahs that they got. They are already preparing for the grand finals. I think this is how your mentality should be, right? How many of a booyahs you get here doesn't matter while you're already on the top of the chart. It is about the champion rush condition. Some of the teams are already preparing for that, and RRQ might be just one of those.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, you're not going to get many opportunities to make a run for the grand finals. You've got only 2 days of play. You need to make the most of it, and that's exactly what RRQ is doing. Team Apex Gaming is doing the exact same thing as well. You got to really admire the fact that they have been consistent fairly with their eliminations. But what's a little surprising is HOTSHOT Esports at the South Asia Play-ins, they were absolutely on, very impressive. But here, they've just been focusing on finding the final circle. They're doing very well as far as the placement points are concerned, but as far as the eliminations are concerned, they haven't really started their aggression or any bit of search for those elimination points. I wonder if or not the final 3 games are going to be a place where they stop looking for that final circle, Lucifer, and start picking up on these eliminations, because that's exactly what Solara provides all of us, those slide rails and a couple of extra opportunities to third-party somebody else out there.
Everybody is looking forward to an extra opportunity here in Solara. That's how close these combats are going to be. Starting right at Riders Club, ending just ahead of Bloomtown. And we can see Falcons seem to be a tad safe and sound. Right next to them is going to be Windmill, where we end up seeing the lads of Tag, Demon Sprite, for the time being a little safe and sound as they move towards the hub. But they've already spotted MAQNA, who had a little dived around and split around Waterfall. But TV Tower, the main matter of fact is, do we end up getting a clash down there? It seems like for the time being, it is only DRS, and Autobots are getting a tad bit closer.
RRQ. And it looks like Team Apex Gaming might just have to fight their way through this one. It's a 2v1, Abe, MP5 in hand. KD God gets into a better spot. Mini Uzi in his hands. A majority of his life taken away from him, and the valiant dash is that finisher. Abe handles that 1v1 like a champ, and it looks like Team Apex were not looking to bring a little bit of backup in that fight at all, surprisingly.
On the other end, DRS, they have this one backed up in TV Tower. They have full control, unable to Autobots figure a way through. DRS is just striking bullets one after another, but Alu, he gets knocked. That's something to be worried about. Power trying to cause some trouble. He gets closer. This should be an opportunity. Glue wall at the right time, but not for long. Prateek, he instantly jumps in and helps out, but did end up losing one of the players. DRS, that was almost quick that they would have lost more if there was a problem. But on the other end, that's just 2 eliminations that they got here at TV Tower.
Yeah, absolutely. And Autobots just didn't have enough manpower in that battle to punish DRS. Games in a row, they've had those early exits. They cannot afford. Cryo Mine sent out. Takuri will find Johan. And it looks are being kept, not coming in here for the aggressive fight. But as HOTSHOTs make both HOTSHOTs and DRS need those points, and HOTSHOTs, it's not really ready yet when you compare them up against DRS. They might just be.
Oh, brilliant UAV sent from DRS. That will be information for them about HOTSHOT. Falcons on the other end, they got only 1, and we did see wars coming in from the highest damage. Pina with around 456, a very early start, but MAQNA right in front of them. On the other end, BIGETRON, they're also picking up a fight, looking forward to an elimination. DRS seems like they did get a little bit of a strike as HOTSHOT tried to move up. Falcons trying to still hold, get some information. They send out a UAV of their own.
Bangla Unity, 2 players lost, make that 3. They're hanging on with their final player. DRS on the other hand, they're gonna have their compound ambush by the players on the side of HOTSHOTs. Time turner pulled down, but now just walks on in there with the M590. They're picking up all of these knocks. Can they get those confirmations as well? Yes, they can. But the shot from the back, VSK Anas helping out the squad, but from far, far away. DRS is gonna have the ability to pick up the rest of their players and also get the confirmation onto the HOTSHOT players. Anas will do nothing except buy a little bit extra time for himself to run away from the engagement, and DRS get those elimination points.
While DRS pick up points still at TV Tower, BIGETRON, they keep continuing hammering. There's the 5th elimination, and Shocked, he wanted to shock Koja over there, but that's not going to happen. Who as well wanted to try and make a jump, but he's going to be surprised in both the directions that he was trying to run away from. But for the time being, before going out, Straw Hats were able to get their players back up. Nil gets one more. That's going to be Shocked. So they still keep floating around here on Solara. But on the other end, BIGETRON by Vitality, it seems like they want to climb up the rung. They want to get to the top of the charts. Just before we started this game, they were at 5th. Hashtag 5 in the standings for the day, but can they rise up right as now? Looking a lot more stronger this time, and we've been talking about them. They've been the Falcon Hunters, yes, and they've been, I think, one of the main reasons that Falcons have not been able to climb up, and that is a good news for them. They love so many eliminations they grab, and again, extra mistake, vehicle exploded, and I think that should be an added elimination here for BIGETRON by Vitality.
BIGETRON by Vitality, runner-up at the FFMAI 2025 Battle Royale, proven on this stage, and this time, they don't want the second spot. They want to be champions. They're one of the best out of Indonesia. They got the title Falcon Hunters for a good reason. They're even able to cap the EWC champions. REVENANT XSPARK, on the other hand, finding the AUTOBOTZ players. AUTOBOTZ just hasn't had a great run from the very start of this matchup, constantly on those revives. And Johan, the final player to get taken down, and they get a very early elimination with no eliminations for themselves at all.
On the other end, REVENANT XSPARK, they'll be happy. 7 eliminations, but this could be a problem. Yes, this is the very first play zone that they are being hit by, but we've seen till the very end, REVENANT XSPARK have that zone magnet play that they end up playing with, which affects them in those final fights. But for the time being, RRQ want to put a little bit of an effect to Demon's Pride. A swap trying to use the height advantage, going up on the glue wall, but it's going to be Mal with a knock on the VSK. That's the opening. Rans and the Bear make their run, and there it is. Jazzy is down, and instantly Demon's Pride player quickly takes into the vehicle and makes a run for it top. Can he make a run right across the hill? And for the time being, will give Demon's Pride a second chance in Solara.
Oh, the barrage of grenades, that Riptide rhythm and the rush from RRQ, the timing was perfect, forcing the demons to run away. They acknowledged, holy hell, those might be the real demons of Free Fire. RRQ is unstoppable when they move on into that mode. But, of course, a triple revival coming on through Demon's Pride will get that full team recovery. REVENANT XSPARK, on the other hand, up against HOTSHOTs. It's a 2v2 for the time being until, of course, those two revive players get brought right back in here. Koja will find Anas, who just got revived out of there. Sohan, Mag 7, time turner pulled out as well. A brilliant play. Actions taken out of the equation. He goes and looks for Leo as well. The Sheen Gun just not getting the reach that he wanted, but he gets the follow-up, and the rest of BIGETRON by Vitality drops by to steal his points.
Oh, REVENANT XSPARK, they better move away from this. BIGETRON by Vitality, they've been on the hunting mode in Solara, but Sohan gunning on this shield gun for how long can he do this? He seems like he's even calling in his teammates. Koja, he's trying to get back up, but Koja, big damage still. He'll somehow survive, but on the other end, BIGETRON by Vitality, they're trying to close the distance. Dick's been spotted, and Kunal helps out from afar. Nice shot on the Car 98K. Kyong a little bit too far. Koja now trying to use that rail, get closer to his teammate. Kyong being spotted. This shield gun is being used like a weapon which cannot be hit upon.
Oh, fantastic shot from afar. Koja down on the ground. Kyung going in for the pickup. Sohan looking for the Punisher. Time turner pulled out. Sohan, can he get the Punisher? M590 in hand. Mag 7 in the hands of Kyung. And he drives both of them down into the ground. M590 perfection out of Sohan. Shield gun perfection out of Sohan. This guy unstoppable for the squad. 6 eliminations and he wants more.
12 in total for REVENANT XSPARK, and what a confident move coming in from Sohan to just hold this weapon, find the opening, and then from afar it was Kunal to get that hit on the sniper, and that made the move that was ready to get BIGETRON by Vitality down. However, they still survive with two of their players nowhere close to where Revenant XSPARK are. And Revenant XSPARK do not want to move away from Aquarium. Let's take a quick look. Even what happened to Straw Hats. Shock tried to run in and he was the one who was shocked here. Like a live wire open, he ended up seeing everybody from Revenant XSPARK.
Absolutely, and of course, those revive attempts that came on through, prevented by Sohan. M590 perfection, man, just not giving anybody any room to breathe out there at all. And of course, dealing with the Indonesians right after that perfectly. You want to check out what more Revenant XSPARK can bring into this game. They're slowly climbing up the leaderboard, but no booyahs to their name just yet. MAQNA, on the other hand, not the best of runs, doing even worse than HOTSHOT at this point of time. Decent with the eliminations, but those placement points have been quite the challenge for them to find.
MAQNA, let's hope they find an opening, a work around to figure out if they will be able to find a lot more eliminations. But looking at their playstyle, right, they've been a lot more survivor-oriented rather than trying to go ahead and challenge opponents. And whenever they wanted to challenge, unfortunately, I do not like the odds. They are always against multiple opponents. And right now, multiple fights going on as Tag. They have an opportunity. Put two of the players from DP down right as now. One player sniping from far, but I don't think he has the best opportunity. Top 77. He was the one who brought the whole squad back up, but still he ends up losing his teammates and now again has to make a safety run to get the whole squad back up again on the feet.
Team Apex Gaming, they cannot afford to get caught out early here. They're definitely looking for another booyah in the day. Demon's Pride right in front of them, capable of gatekeeping the Indian squad. But they are rich, man. Sailjan with 4,000 coins in his pockets. What is he going to do with all of that money? I guess we'll have to wait and see, Lucifer.
Yeah.
Now into stealth mode.
Big money coming in here. And I think everybody is, even Keroro right now, 3,200, but Falcons, just like the other teams that we've been kind of highlighting so far, RRQ, Revenant XSPARK, they have only 2 eliminations. Demon's Pride on the other end, unfortunately, will be finally scouted out and put down. Falcons, they've also been scouted. Unfortunately, it is because their own rotation, but an opening Limit X7, he has been performing consistently for Falcons. However, unfortunate that they've not been able to play together. But this time, Pina has a nice angle and an opening that he can jump, and his teammates all decide to rush in. And Keroro, there he goes. Nil is down. Shocked wants to make a quick run out of this position, and it seems like it could work out. Who is the only one last man standing left behind to hold the forces of Falcons, but he will also be put down.
Sorry, who?
Who?
You should have followed that one up, shocked. Was as shocked as Lucifer was with that question. Does get the phenomenal shot, but super low on HP. Can he survive? Racha goes in for the time turner save. Shocked not healing himself, just up. And he might just get punished here as Racha with the M590 swings around that blue wall, puts the final player of Straw Hats out of the equation. They get taken out in the 9th spot and DRS out in 8th. Another early exit for DRS Gaming.
It seemed like they had almost started. 6 eliminations, something that was a tad bit better from the first 3 games. Look at it. They barely left it off in the first 3, but this still did not go their way. On the other end, Revenant XSPARK keeping that charge on after what just happened to Demon's Pride. Now they have an opportunity against HOTSHOT. Sajid has been trying to get his team up. Now he's the last one standing. Then there is going to be a jump shot coming in from Arch, putting an end to HOTSHOT in their run at the 7th position here on Solara. And Revenant XSPARK seems like they've made a comeback. 16 total eliminations in this game of Solara.
Yeah, there was a solid slam dunk coming on through. Revenant XSPARK, 16 eliminations, solid on their side. To look for the next circle on the double. RRQ with the potential of gatekeeping them. And this was that battle between DRS and Revenant XSPARK earlier. They pulled out the time turner at the stairway in itself, so no grenades could reach them. They went in for the rush with the M79, and they obliterated the DRS players.
Revenant XSPARK on the other end want to keep continuing this after they've found so much in so many different angles. On the other end, even Team Apex Gaming now challenging RRQ KAZU. While this battle, while they tried it a little earlier in the previous games, did not work completely in their favor. Now they do want to but there's a bolt maker being called. A complete lightning field set upon. But can Tag take an advantage on this? RRQ now slowly trying to move in. Rance, he's going to be ahead of it as the rush making. On the other end, Wolven a little too ahead of the game. Had the corner, finds the opening on a knock, but they were quick on the revive, having the Thiva in place, but they have to patch themselves up. Riders are now using that dash. Shoto opens it up, quickly exchange. I think there should be a confirmation, but the nade launcher being used. M79 gives an opening back to RRQ KAZU, but quick turnaround from Sahiljat as well as KD God and leaves a bear as the last one standing from RRQ KAZU. This is the opportunity for Team Apex Gaming.
Oh, Team Apex Gaming just showing RRQ who's boss. But now MAQNA trying to take advantage of this chaos. KD God going to be pushed back. Jans finds the M590 shut down. And Team Apex Gaming could not sustain two back-to-back battles. RRQ's final player about to get taken out of the equation. A stray Riptide rhythm from somewhere else landed on the second floor of MAQNA Esports' house. And they're just hunting for the final player on the side of RRQ. It looks like RRQ might stand a 0% chance here to walk away with something decent. No vending machines in sight.
But still surviving. Oh, get boo. This should be an opportunity to spot a bear, but I think he's worried about BIGETRON by Vitality, who took a shot, took their player down, and that is the reason still a bear is standing from RRQ KAZU. Last 4 teams in the final battle. RRQ have only one man standing, whereas Falcons just now, they also end up losing a player to a knock, but quickly get revived. MAQNA have 3 players just as similar as BIGETRON by Vitality. RRQ, if they have to get closer, survive to make it to the top 3, they have to trail behind MAQNA, and that is the same idea by Abe. He's using this MAQNA's distraction towards the other teams to just be behind them into the shadows.
2 Indonesian squads close towards that final circle. RRQ with the ninja skills out of Abe, holding his ground, trying to survive for the time being, but MAQNA might have just spotted them. I think it's Abe tossing all of those glue wall melters. Abe helping out the rest of the squads to find MAQNA. That's the revenge play from Abe. Yes, he gets taken out by Karoro, but the job is done. RRQ punishes MAQNA with that interference of those glue wall melters. Now Falcons looking for the final play on the side of MAQNA. Virus taken out of the equation. Falcons puts an end to that, and now looking for BIGETRON to eat up on the battlefield as well. Ice grenade pelts against Pina and Karoro. Racha quickly finding the reposition. Limit looking for Sibang. Koja and Kyong backing away. The advantage in numbers for Falcons as they approach.
Kyong, he's at the forefront of it. Pina, he puts him down with the help of Limit X7. Koja might be in trouble. Dash being used right in the face of Koja. Sibang is down the hill. There is no cover coming in for BIGETRON by Vitality. Right now, the Falcon Hunters, they are the ones who are being hunted. And with that, BIGETRON by Vitality, they are going to be put to rest as Falcons rise with their wings flapping for a booyah in game number 4.
Hey, what can I say, man? It is the prediction of a lifetime. Sometimes I get lucky. Falcons and BIGETRON by Vitality in that final circle, looking for the booyah. And Falcons finally waking up. At the start of this match, Lucifer, I told you the only reason why I'm predicting Falcons is because, man, they need the points. And we only have 3 matches to go. And they definitely understood that really, really well. Looking for the launch up the leaderboard just through this one match. It was a solid game for them, but it was not an easy one at all, because just this lobby, all of the chaos was pulled away with that high ground attention. MAQNA could not reach Falcons because of their positioning, and you have to say that was a brilliant rotation from Falcons.
Yeah, I think the timing as well when they decided to climb up the hill, and also I think you have to give kudos to RRQ's Bear with the melters being used. While MAQNA had the opportunity to push down on Falcons, that opening that they found and put the entire squad, wipe them out. And Kyong, he had an opportunity, but the players were just too close. And Limit X7, I think he's just been brilliant throughout the first 3 games. And now that his teammates finally come in together to find this booyah, he was super confident. Towards the end of it, in the last shot, we can see that even before Sibang had any chance to provide cover fire, that downhill battle for him did not work out, and Falcons made this work in their own manner, and they themselves get a booyah. And as you said, the points as well that they accumulate. In the start, it looked a tad bit dicey for them, while BIGETRON by Vitality were hunting all across the boards, but by the end, as you can see, it is Team Falcons that do get the booyah, 23 points, but BIGETRON by Vitality, they're still right now in the game standing the top of the charts with 26 total points, and this is the reason I said they were just hunting 17 eliminations.
I mean, what can you say, man? Indonesia is just filled with players who are just damn good at Free Fire. You gotta respect the fan base. You gotta respect the pro teams that come out of Indonesia for this one good reason. They are rough out there on the battlefield, and you'll have to do a lot to keep up with them. But you could say the same for REVENANT XSPARK as well, right? They had the spark in this game this time round. Unfortunately, the placement points, the survival bit just wasn't on their side. But still a great dash to the top just through those eliminations for the Indian squad. And in the overall grand scheme of things, REVENANT XSPARK will be the closest ones to RRQ KAZU, but now very closely chased by BIGETRON by Vitality. Indonesia rising up to the top. We only have 4 Southeast Asian teams here in this particular lobby, but they all seem to be finding their way up to the top except MAQNA.
Yeah, unfortunate for MAQNA. They've been trying their best. And just before we both stepped in, right, to start the second half of the cast, I was like, okay, calculating. Here's the thing. I think one booyah for even MAQNA, DRS or HOTSHOT, they'll quickly jump up to the first spot because on an average, we end up seeing 25 to 30 points that a team pulls off with a booyah. And that difference was almost attainable. But right now, looking at the standings of Group B and C, 60 points, that's 2 plus 3 games, and right as now we just have 2 games left. I think this is going to be difficult, especially for teams who are going to be taking a rest tomorrow. If your day start was not that great and you're still not picking up points, it will look troublesome, especially for DRS who are only looking at 13 points. But on the other end, let's talk about the MVP. Finally on this chart of game MVP is Limit X7. He was looking forward to this. He's been doing the damage, finding the eliminations, and now with his team getting the booyah, he gets his face on the screen.
Yeah, Limit X7, one of the best snipers out there in Southeast Asia. When he got acquired by Falcons, it just made the team so much more stronger, preparing them for those long-range engagements. 6 eliminations, 3,240 on the damage, all thanks to the Moko Maro Suzy. He drops the Raphael for the Suzy, the money mark giving him all of the extra coins. That does double him as a support player for the squad as well. And obviously, when you've got the tack market, when you want to purchase all of those items out of it, you need that extra bit of coins in your pocket. But what makes this player so deadly is that Moss and his capability to reposition and play those perfect angles up against the squads out there. The A124 Oscar Moss Chrono combination shows us that Falcons in this game just wanted to get down and dirty on the front lines, Lucifer.
Yeah, big time. And you can see right now, so now it also kind of shows us that there are going to be 2 snipers at the brink of Falcons' end. But A124's play, we clearly know that they want to just go up close and personal, and before the opponent activates their skill, they will be shut down, and that is the thrill of battle that we end up seeing coming in from Falcons. And once they knew they were in charge of this final circle, the final battle in Solara, they knew they were going to be in front of their opponents, making sure they will not give them a chance to breathe. And that's what happened from MAQNA to taking down RRQ to then going to BIGETRON by Vitality. Before they could understand what's happening, Falcons were right at their faces, and a brilliant job being done. And again, 2 team boosters, 2 tactical markets that we end up seeing Beastion, but this time we don't end up seeing a Drakey in play. They're all looking forward to information, and I think that information was so ever crucial for Falcons to get this booyah under control.
Yeah, no doubt at all. Not a heavy engagement and elimination match for Falcons compared to what they are usually able to do in a lobby like this. So even though the active, skill combination looked like they were going to take a very rough and heavy engagement kind of an approach on those front lines, the ones doing the biggest heavy lifting was Limit. Also because they do run a double sniper setup with Kororo being that backup sniper, he was not as lethal as the squad would have wanted him to be out there in the game. But if you look at the game overall, it was an easy start for Falcons at Riders Club, and then they dropped by to see if they could annihilate the players on the side of Demon's Pride, who very quickly ran away from them, which only meant that they had so much more to loot up each and every single compound.
And the timing is well when Demon's Pride made a jump out of it. From there, you can see the entire map. They've been just jumping across, being caught by. Whereas Falcons, they've been intertwining in battles, but they've been pushing teams out of the positions. Just as now, even Straw Hats, they get pushed out, and then they get close towards Funfair. BIGETRON by Vitality were close. We thought there could be a battle, but BIGETRON by Vitality were a little more inclined to what was going on in terms of action, while teams were picking up in battles, and they wanted to go for those eliminations, which gave a way for Falcons to make their entry through Funfair in that final battle. And I think BIGETRON by Vitality, even though a 3-man squad in that final battle, still had a chance only if Falcons gave them a little bit of a space, right? That breather is very crucial. But with this, the points, and as well we saw the standings, right? Where right now Falcons have made a jump. They are at #5. BIGETRON by Vitality, they've jumped to the #3. And just before this, we were mentioning, and I think a tad bit happy also over our faces, because the South Asian teams in those initial 3 games were dominating. But when we came to this final circle, we ended up seeing it was only the Southeast Asian teams taking full control and battling to win.
I think the smile would be bigger on my face if I saw South Asia dominate. I don't want to see Southeast Asia dominate. I know they can dominate. We've seen many years of this already. We've seen 2 editions of Free Fire Max Asia Invitationals already. But let's check out these drop spots as well before we head on with that conversation. Because it looks like Brasilia is going to be lit up with a couple of hot drops. And we've got multiple hot drop potential here on this map when we throw these teams into this group.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Like, okay, yes, Brasilia is going to be a hotspot for contention, but on the other end, Ski Lodge as well as Forge, both of them having a clash, even being Lumber Mill and Central, and the entire space of Mount Villa, Quarry, Crossroads, all empty. There is no way this is going to happen. Just like how we ended up seeing, right? DRS, they were the only team at TV Tower. This is bound to happen. I think there's going to be a lot of fight that will break out at Fields. Maybe no teams going all the way up to Moat House. That I think is the most good probability, rare chance of somebody going there. In case, like I think in Bermuda, in the South Asia Plains, we ended up seeing a shipyard final circle. If something like that happens, I think there is a chance that teams will all jump towards Moat House. Otherwise, yes, Crossroads, Fields, and then Brasilia.
Well, let's see who you and I think is going to dominate that final circle again, Lucifer. Let's bring up the predictions, because I think this time round, I want to switch things up a little bit, right? RRQ, they got knocked out of the contention a tad bit too early. I think AUTOBOTZ had a very rough game in the previous one as well. And BANGLA Unity, it's been a while since I've screamed their name, so I want all 3 of these teams to find that final circle, my friend.
On the other end, I think BIGETRON by Vitality of what they just did, and Falcons in the last and final battle, both the teams head-to-head on a clash. Iron Bulls out there. And on the other end, I think Straw Hats now coming from their region, the best out of their region, winning titles, getting #1. And we saw, right, when they started the South Asia Plains run, day 1 was not theirs, but day 2, they completely dominated. They left Flame Esports, who had taken the name completely in their favor, out and unknown. I think that's what I want to see. I was a little in between, AJ, even for BANGLA Unity and Straw Hats. I was like, hey,
you know exactly where to find those vehicles, if you know exactly how to find yourself a little bit of a drop spot that's going to be far, far away from the heat of the battle. Like, if the teams already have a rough understanding of where the preferred spots are for most of the teams that they've already seen in the South Asia Plains so far, then they should be able to avoid a lot of the heat, especially if they're not performing too well at the moment. We're talking about teams like MAQNA, teams like DRS, HOTSHOTs. They need to find a isolated drop for themselves, or else it's going to be a rough run for them again.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think MAQNA, they were close to figuring that play out, right? We ended up seeing they ran right at the timing to jump in between REVENANT, XSPARK, and TAG as well as RRQ. They almost won the
enough to carry 4 players, so finding a couple of vehicles for those quick getaways, especially early on in the...
Johan is completely surrounded. There is no way that he can run out from this tower, whereas his teammates, they are not in position of helping him out. And HOTSHOT, they do not want to give this opportunity. They want to get this elimination under control. However, Matt God and Power pushing through with the Uzi that they have, want to help out. And finally, Johan makes a drop. Prodigy as well. And I think HOTSHOT just gave too much space in time for AUTOBOTZ, and now they've recovered. They've done the damage. Leo using that chrono, but for how long? Players is surrounded. Leo was only good for 1. Switches to his Uzi as well, but he'll also be put down. Players from HOTSHOT are being taken down, but finally there is Actions who jumps in. Prodigy is a little too far, so those eliminations should be confirmed, and Prodigy decides to cut this fight and go back.
Oh, the stealth bites now, trying to get away from this situation. Has the zip line to put a decent distance between himself and the boys of HOTSHOTs as well. Do they go in for the pursuit? Anas up top. The Moss keeping him safe for the time being. Prodigy, nobody has a sniper by the looks of things. Prodigy doesn't break his ankles, drops down to the ground, looks back, nobody on pursuit just yet, and HOTSHOTs do not have a jump pad on them. So, gonna have to catch up. with those boys in a little bit. Prodigy hits that revive, so Autobots will survive for the time being. MAQNA, on the other hand, getting run down by the Straw Hats back to back, but it's Straw Hats up against DRS. Those boys are waiting for that opportune moment to spring this trap.
DRS, they did start off on TV Tower, but it was the previous game, and now they're getting hit upon. Extra, not even giving a chance to DRS right now. Alu is also down. Thakuri tries his best, only gets one shot. Wanted to make sure he gets the eliminations, do not give a revival chance, and Thakuri will also be put down. That's how confident Straw Hats are here at Ski Lodge. Put everybody down, and they're in search for the last player, Prateek. I don't think he had an opportunity to revive anybody here. He's trying his best, jumping across the edges, in DRS in big trouble. He's the last man standing for how long? Being used, who running right towards him, position completely unveiled. He has 600, but no opportunity of a vending machine, and they will put him down. Straw Hats, 7 eliminations, casualties, yes, but they still stand here at Ski Lodge.
And DRS, their run just doesn't get any better. 5 games in, yet another early elimination from the lobby. And Straw Hats, like you said, man, they held their ground in that battle. And Extrov already beside the vending machine, hits the double revive. Revenant XSPARK, on the other hand, how in the world did they get eliminated?
That's gotta hurt, but same goes for Prodigy. A little bit of a dragged on fight. Thankfully, Autobots, they don't get eliminated completely because Prodigy was in time to get the players back up. So they still have a chance, but only one of their players made it. Therefore, they have a long haul from here on here in Purgatory if they do want a chance of getting back into the game. But BIGETRON, to their usual, just again having 6 eliminations at the very start of the game. And I think they might also be in the mix where Revenant XSPARK had a battle. And using the hit list as an advantage for them, that any team that gets closer is more eliminations, and they've been confident every time, especially early circles. Taking down BIGETRON by Vitality has been a challenge for every team here in FFMAI 2026 summer.
Team Apex Gaming now bumping into the champions of the very first Esports World Cup. Can they take them down and out of this equation? Falcons do have a better position here. Katie God, Car 98 in hand, but no backup at all in that situation. Racha finds one. Wolven, Shoto, M590, perfection in that time turner as he pulls that 180. Taking the drop onto Racha, going to save Wolven as well. And it looks like the team will survive because the team members are solid, but Limit X7 with the cord fighting Zyle down and Wolven out of nowhere. Limit X7 with the M590 as well. And Falcons dismantling the boys of Team Apex Gaming one after the other and eliminating them in 10th.
Limit X7 from all angles that they can never even think of. And now look at him. He's gone. He's going to revive his teammates. That is insane. All four eliminations is what he grabs. Unbelievable stuff by the Falcons. Team Apex Gaming almost challenged, tried to work their way out. Even the Bolt Maker troubling so much that they could not hold their position. They were not even giving them a chance to revive. That's how good Limit X7 was.
Dude, Limit X7 was so fast that even the observers couldn't keep up with him.
Yeah.
No idea how in the world he pulled that off. But at the end of the day, man, Team Apex Gaming just out in the open. They were not ready for that fight. And the way they got surrounded by the Falcon players, that just didn't sit right with me. The moment I spotted it, and the Indian squad, a promising one out early. I was thinking they would make a mad dash for the #1 spot, but it looks like they'll have to wait for the final game. And now they'll have to hope and pray that RRQ gets eliminated early as well. Revenant XSPARK is no longer part of the equation, so they don't need to worry about chasing them down in the next game. But RRQ, if they continue to pick up more points, catching up to them for Team Apex Gaming for the #1 spot is just going to be impossible.
Yeah. And RRQ, just as we spoke earlier, AJ, they've been brewing themselves towards that champion rush play. Yes, trying to get closer towards this Booyah. And you can see that survival, right? Even Abe was the last one standing, tried his best to make sure to become a thorn in other buddies' works. And that is now HOTSHOT want to do that, and they've been very consistent. Where we thought Autobots almost turned the fight around, it's not been working. Continuously being peppered by bullets. HOTSHOT keep continuing, and again it is still Prodigy last one standing. Hit list being activated. Prodigy is information being relayed to HOTSHOT. They might decide to trail, or they will constantly being pinged of where he will be. Demon's Pride on the other end. they have an opportunity right at the river bank is what they are holding, and one of the players from AUTOBOTZ, Johan, while Prodigy is making a run in the other direction, Johan is somewhere else. AUTOBOTZ are completely split, and that is one of the worst positions to be in, where you're never together and you could play for a booyah.
Demon's Pride. Oh, Prodigy. Prodigy. Prodigy, what is going on, Prodigy? I thought those waters were a tad bit deeper, Prodigy. I have no idea how that horse just swam with Prodigy on his back, but that is a strong horse. It's a good horse.
Yeah, it's a viable friend to keep beside you, to take you through tough times and deep waters. And AUTOBOTZ finally
Dogs of the world, watch out. The horse is now your best friend.
Yes. But something that they should be happy about on top of that is going to be they finally reunited. This has been a problem for AUTOBOTZ. Even in the last game, as soon as they did decide to reunite, they were just taken out. And this time as well, almost whenever Prodigy was going in for a revive, he was also being taken down. But now they're at the edge. They have control of the circle. Nobody is on a chase. Yes, we did see HOTSHOT still, I think, have the hit list. Not much to be worried about. But on the other end, RRQ, they have their opportunity, but Bangla Unity, they rather get spotted from HOTSHOT.
I did see another team almost bumping into each other earlier on. It looks like this is that fight.
Yeah.
Lightning Zone called out here by HOTSHOT, and they're going in for the pursuit. Bangla Unity just stepping out of the circumference of that lightning zone. Bolt Maker will be wasted here for the side of HOTSHOT. They do not make good use of that. There is a vending machine that they can both default to, but Bangla Unity moving a little bit further and further away from those revive opportunities. HOTSHOT takes control of the compound that has the advantage for that vending machine, not looking for a big fight up against Bangla Unity because of that open grounds right between them. And I think that's the smart move.
Yeah. HOTSHOT, they've gotten 4 eliminations. We already spoke about that they should look better in this hopeful game. But Right is now looking ever so better, continuing the aggression, troubling MAQNA, and it's once again trouble. Drain, he's trying his best. It's not working out. He'll also be put to rest, and that is another added on elimination here for BIGETRON by Vitality, soaring their score to 9 in total, the highest so far in this lobby. Nobody is able to catch up to this race of BIGETRON by Vitality. Every time, every game that we've seen so far, they've been setting the record of getting highest eliminations at the end of the game.
Indonesian supremacy, man. What can we say? BIGETRON by Vitality looking absolutely perfect. Alongside RRQ right at the top of the leaderboard right now. REVENANT XSPARK not there to catch up with them. Maybe Falcons can do something here. All 4 players are still alive, and they are in your predictions, Lucifer. So fingers crossed they make it to that final circle to shut down BIGETRON by Vitality, or else catching up is going to be tough for the rest of the lobby as well, as Indonesia continues to run away from them. Racha will find the final spot here, taken away from MAQNA, and it looks like the Malaysian squad will continue to struggle down at the bottom.
Both DRS and MAQNA, they're just struggling this whole day, and it's game number 5. There's only one more game that they could maybe even try something out. Bangla Unity on the other end, a prediction that we were both a little hit on, that these could do a little bit of a damage and find their way, but Bangla Unity so far, it's been 10 minutes of the game and not even a single elimination that they have accounted for. They have another opportunity. They want to take this fight, but as you already spoke about it, in that open ground, none of them want to take the fight head on. They want to rather let one of them make a mistake, get closer, and then get the advantage of those eliminations. And Bangla Unity, they don't seem to be the first to initiate the battle, nor do HOTSHOT want any bit of this in the open ground.
Man, Bangla Unity out of the pen into the fire potentially with this rotation as they get closer and closer to BIGETRON by Vitality. I would have just chosen HOTSHOT. BIGETRON by Vitality now right in front of the boys of Bangla Unity, and they have the high ground advantage. Kyong, Koja, the shots now starting off. Zibeng hits the Moss as well. He wants to quickly reposition and stab them in the back. We saw him do that in the previous game already, and he's looking to pull that off once again. Straw Hats getting involved in the battle, and that's the disadvantage that was needed here by Bangla Unity to face off against BIGETRON.
Straw Hats become the hopeful saviors here for Bangla Unity. That came in from a surprise, a nade being used, but it just fell a little bounce off that glue wall once more, bouncing a lot across, and finally Koja strikes. This is the opportunity that BIGETRON by Vitality were looking for. Koja is trying to close the distance. Now the Straw Hat shots are not connecting, and Koja wants to go for one of his own with the M590, trying to go for a barrage blow. FGL also being used, and finally converting with the help of Sibang, who has an off position. But Sibang has lost a lot of his comrades, and all that he can do is back off from this fight, get some eliminations. Yes, he does only one, but on the other end, nothing else. Has a machine right behind him. He has 1500, should be able to bring back his teammates, going in for a coin right in front of him as well. Safe and sound for the time being. But on the other end, RRQ, KAZU and AUTOBOTZ. RRQ were holding this. How? What? Yeah. Hello, Power?
Power just sidestepping those shots, dancing around. He had his dancing shoes on, and Maal just panicked in that moment. I thought he would get away with his life, but unfortunately gets snuffed out either way. The boys had backup on the side of RRQ. How unfortunate for AUTOBOTZ. Now again with just Prodigy left alone here, and Actions will snuff him out with an AC-80.
This whole game has just been a cat and mouse chase between HOTSHOT as well as AUTOBOTZ. Every time they've caught them, and finally the mouse is going to be put to rest, and right as now AUTOBOTZ are out of the game. On the other end, Falcons.
Let's see what they can do here in the situation. Falcon 7 elimination on his side. M590 in the hands of Pina. BIGETRON by Vitality out. And that is courtesy of Bangla Unity. The Bangladeshi squad stepping it up this time round, making sure the Indonesians do not run away with this one. Falcons now finding a prey for themselves as well. And it looks like Demon's Pride will not be prideful once Falcons walks away. The victors of this game are swapped down on the ground. But those glue walls protecting him from getting annihilated. Kororo breaks down those defenses. Get to that second floor, looking for the rest of the players. And RRQ showing up out of nowhere. Abe, Rans, they barricade those glue walls, and the stress will just not be accessible for the time being. Falcons desperately trying to get away from RRQ.
RQ KAZU, they've gotten so many so far. They've been the top of the charts, and Falcons want that opportunity for themselves. But finally, they find an opening. It seems like he's found a knock, and now they're trying to run in. They want to make sure they get closer. Abe, he's close. Pina's damaged, but Rans, he gets hit upon, and now they're trying to go for an exchange. Pina trying to hold off his own. Abe, he's big damage. Time going through, and RQ KAZU with the help of Kiroro's launcher. That M79 comes into play. Afar from our POV, will still strike and put the side of RRQ KAZU down out of the race.
Yeah, knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. That's the song that was playing as Falcons took that fight. RRQ knocking on their doors. They just didn't know exactly whose door it was. And Falcons making the M79 play against RRQ themselves, who have been so popular in obliterating the other squads with their grenade launcher. Now HOTSHOTs in the crosshairs of Pina. AWM in his hands. One mistake and it's going to cost HOTSHOTs a little bit of a medkit play here. They're out in the open, just their glue walls to protect them at this point of time.
Falcons, one of the big opportunities for themselves. But look at Bangla Unity trying to use that advantage as Racha was peppering Straw Hats to run in close. Not the same wise decision. While RRQ did it, Bangla Unity trying to do the same ploy. Straw Hats as well now jumping on the same roof. What is happening? Everybody wants a bit and piece of the compound that Falcons have. It seems to be a winning compound, but Falcons have completely held it off. They've glue walled it, shut everything, and no allowance for anybody else rather than the outer extremities.
Yeah, the best position to take when you're fighting a giant is sit on top of its head. Then it cannot see exactly where you are. Bangla Unity with that high ground advantage, taking the shots up against Straw Hats. Can they find another one for themselves? Bangla Unity, only 2 more players left on their side. Straw Hats with the numbers advantage here. And they stack on each other. HOTSHOT's the only team outside of this compound, and they're still getting their shots on point. Pakistani squad's waking up. Anas with that headshot. And that AWM putting Nil down on the ground just for a moment here, but they're all waiting for the circle to move. HOTSHOTs has got nowhere to go, and I'm afraid that they will be at a disadvantage here when all 3 teams step out at the same time.
HOTSHOT, however, I feel like they might have a chance in the circle. The zone right at the edge. Straw Hats now forced to fall down, and Bangla Unity and Straw Hats both sharing the same floor, whereas Falcons have the advantage. HOTSHOT holding this off, and the timing. Look at this. Falcons let the other teams just be stuck inside the compound. HOTSHOT trailing across, move like a battalion without giving any chance for anybody to even take a shot. No knock as well. Falcons smoothly maneuver and get to the open fields.
The great Falcon glue wall build, my goodness me, that was just a thing of beauty. Grenade nil, about to get annihilated, and they take out the Pakistani squad first, and it looks like this is just about to be all-out chaos now as Falcons look to rule this final spot. HOTSHOT still in it on the left-hand side. The rotation from Anos going to get cut off. Yes, Shock is about to shock him with the play. Leo looking for Racha. It's a tad bit blurry on my side, guys, but I do apologize. Racha is about to be caught out, and the action shot with that AC-80 finding the connection, but those glue walls again played perfectly on the side of Falcons.
Falcons have been perfect in placing the glue walls. They're not allowing HOTSHOT to get closer, and look at them, they've trapped in themselves. Leo, he's taken down. Kiruro also on an exchange. Actions has an opportunity, jumps to the monster truck. They're unable to find him, and then he strikes. He puts Pina down. There's an opportunity. Ratcha is also down. It's all up to this heavy lifter. Limit X7, can he do something? AWM, but he has to play. Uses the more stealth bites to reposition himself. He has an opportunity. It's a 1v2, and they have no clue where he is. Anas has been spotted. This should be the opportunity. Big damage on Anas, and now he's trying to close the distance. He doesn't have a closed weapon. Oh, Whaley and Dash being used, but still not being used by the HOTSHOT to find an advantage. But actions finally with the M590 as the advantage goes away for Falcons. HOTSHOT, they strike a booyah.
Man, I would have never thought in a fair fight between HOTSHOTs and Falcons that HOTSHOTs would walk away the victors of that battle. I think they played that perfectly. It was a little messy. Messy only because Falcons are damn good at defense. Those glue walls are just absolutely horrendous to deal with when you are the one trying to reach them from the opposite side, and Falcons played those defense perfectly on every single rotation. So to fight through those glue walls and still win out this fair fight is a big one for the side of HOTSHOTs. But a big reason why they got that was because they stayed out of trouble on the initial parts. I thought they were out in the open, but it looks like the Haystacks was protecting them for a good amount of time, and then rotating away from Falcons was a brilliant strategy by HOTSHOTs.
And I think you have to give credits to Actions' play here. I thought he was going to take a fight outside the zone, takes jumps inside the monster truck, and then instantly exits, and he was inside the zone, which gave him an advantage to take the other players who had stepped down, who were getting chipped on the health. Valiant Dash being used helps Anas over there. Rather, I thought that was a move to find a Limit X7 down, but finally, when Anas was also confident, then Actions also moved, and yes, major credit in that final fight has to be to the movement of how Actions played for HOTSHOT Esports. If that was not done, there could have been an opportunity that Falcons would have brought it back, and that was one of the reasons even Limit X7 did not know what to do. While he hit Anas, he knew he had an opportunity. He tried to close the distance, but he did not know who the last player was and how he's going to dabble in that fight.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Falcons right up at the top, even though they do not walk away with the booyah. 26 points thanks to the 17 eliminations. They dominated this lobby, but HOTSHOTs, they earned everybody's respect. A fair fight up against Falcons in a circle which was definitely not their friend. It was not favoring them at all, but they played that down to the T to work themselves out of the bottom side of the overall leaderboard. Straw Hats picking up the good points as well for Bangladesh. A total of 18 points for themselves, followed by BIGETRON by Vitality and RRQ KAZU. The two Indonesian squads this time round, they didn't do badly, but not too great as well, Lucifer.
But still, one thing that RRQ KAZU have done is got themselves double digits. That's what teams need to worry about. They're just running away. They're picking points on an average, and there it is. Already the 100 mark being hit by RRQ KAZU. Team Falcons to follow that suit, and they're at 83. Unbelievable stuff. If you go back to the scorecard around game number 2 and game number 3, Falcons were not seen anywhere close to the top 5, and now they're hitting the second spot. So in the last 3rd to 5th game now that we have seen, they've almost hit around 50 to 60 points to rise to this occasion. Brilliant stuff for Falcons to emerge out of it. And while we were almost, right, we spoke about this, smiling wide for the South Asian teams in game number 3, now we are a tad bit worried. The challenge right now being forced to the South Asian teams as the Southeast Asians take the charge on the today's standings.
Man, but I still got to give it to the South Asian teams. They're still keeping up, right?
Yeah,
Yes, they're
yeah.
getting beaten by Southeast Asia, but they're keeping up. They're close enough. One game could make the big difference. Of course, catching up with RRQ KAZU is looking to be a tough task for the South Asian teams, but catching up with the other two shouldn't be too big of a problem at all. Actions this time, 6 eliminations. You called him out, and I think his rotations and play with the M590 was just absolutely brilliant. Apart from the Vector, I think it was the M590 plays that
Yes.
really got actions, the bigger part of this game, and those numbers with the Valiant dash off of that Oscar, with that Joseph. No into A124 is going to be slowing this guy down. J-Beams to make him into a walking tank, and of course the extra bit of reload, the extra speed on that reload, and making sure your opponents don't recover as quick off of the Nikita gives him a big advantage in this close quarters combat.
And that was very much necessary in a zone which was completely swinging left and right. Sometimes it looked like Falcons had the just the fit, and then it looked like HOTSHOT, because HOTSHOT initially had the circle control, but then of how actions played with his active and both passive skills coming into play, even Anas tried his best, the Morse coming into play, which we also saw from Limit X7's position, where he did move in the other direction, wanted to throw the game off for HOTSHOT, did not work completely. If he did land that AWM shot and got Anas down, there could be an opportunity, but Anas quickly putting up a glue wall, then getting information. Yes, Moko and Maro also coming into the play. On top of it, having Leo. Yes, in that fight that we hopefully thought that Leo will prop up his chrono at the right time. Unfortunately, he was the first to fall. And I think in this whole game, all Sajid was trying to do is make sure until the final fight unfolds, keep them surviving, and I think he played his role to the best, and that is the reason barely any damage do we see from his end being striked.
Absolutely, man. And of course, Sajid with the 3, Leo with the 1, a total of 9 eliminations for the squad. They just walked away with a booyah. Not the craziest game we've seen out of the squad, but it's all about the awakening, right? And we know for a fact that HOTSHOTs have had a rough run from the start of the day. They didn't really start off as the best squad. Picking up a couple of average points on Kalahari and Nextera, and they really dipped on Bermuda. Didn't find great points on Solara as well. So this is their recovery. This has been the best game, the best run for HOTSHOTs, and they've got one more game to wrap up the day as we head on into the final map. The blessing here is going to be that it's going to be the randomizer. But before, of course, we get into the conversation, let's check out the circle analysis for this map.
I think in the circle analysis, I really like how things started off for Straw Hats, even going for HOTSHOT, because I think while they did get this booyah, their journey to get to this booyah has been long. It's been draining for them, because you saw it started at Marble Works, they chased AUTOBOTZ, and towards the end as well, it was after they put AUTOBOTZ to rest, take the whole team out, then they got to move to their final play itself. If they did not make that move and maybe did not get confident in those battles, I think HOTSHOT wouldn't have had this opportunity. And I think that's what we've been looking for every team. And once they made their move out of Marble Works, we barely see them moving from Crossroads. One position that they were holding, they're just battling, putting players down, while Falcons ended up being the magnet of this purgatory game because of how they ended RRQ, Demon's Pride going down, multiple teams inside that everybody thought that should be where the circle might shift. The last zone make a move. Unfortunately, it did not. It moved in the favor of HOTSHOT. Straw Hats got stuck. Bangla Unity got stuck. We thought Straw Hats might have a chance, but the timing, look at that, AJ. When Straw Hats decided to jump down, go into the building, Falcons made their entire chain of glue walls and ran across. That was picture perfect from their end. But hey, this is just game number 5. There's still game number 6, but it's a randomizer. Which team has an advantage on this? That's what we have to look at.
Absolutely, man. Which team gets the advantage? Which team picks up decent momentum heading into this final map? It's HOTSHOTs. Do they get a map that favors them so that they can go back to back? Maybe not with a booyah, but just the decent performance, right? Because we're looking for the South Asian teams to awaken here. We don't really need to expect Southeast Asia to wake up. Yes, MAQNA is still asleep, but the rest from Southeast Asia are on a dominant run up on top. But how do you run when you get to Kalahari? Those snipers will fish you out of the air, Lucifer.
And going into Kalahari, just like how we started the day, is how we are going to end the day. And especially, I'm pretty sure the fans from India, they're going to be rooting for this game. Team Apex Gaming, they got the very first booyah of the main event, and I'm pretty sure would want to see one from there. And we've just been seeing a little bit of a hit and miss from their gameplay after that game number 2 started. Until then, I think Team Apex Gaming knew what they were doing. It's just the fights that they're picking. Even when they decided to go head on against BIGETRON by Vitality, it did not go completely in their direction. And I think that's what they'll now fine-tune it, especially that they already know they've gotten a booyah on this very day. So end on a high note should be their thought process.
Absolutely. I mean, they've got the advantage, they've got the confidence, but as we head on into this next map, the drop spots are going to be fairly important as well. And as you see, you've got 3 spots which might just be a little bit lit up with those hot drops from the very start. And my eyes are definitely on Refinery in the battle between HOTSHOTs as well as RRQ. Will HOTSHOTs take this risky drop to challenge the Indonesian powerhouse?
The Indonesian teams, like how we were kind of talking about the Bangladeshi teams, right, in the South Asia plains, just like what Deva United Horus did in spring, it seems like now the Indonesian teams who have so much history now understood that it's time to take titles back to back to our region. And I think that's the powerhouse effect that is hit upon that region. And RRQ KAZU, it could be a brilliant one. But one thing for sure in the preferred drop spot that I love compared to the previous game that we witnessed, AJ, is it's nicely spread, evenly telling us that, hey, this is how the game is going to be. Not like what we saw, ended up seeing 5-6 teams in TV Tower. Okay, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I hope this is exactly what we see out there. Just less chaos, more time for the teams to just really play their looting progress well, right?
Yeah, and
let's check out. Yeah, they absolutely need it. Let's check out our predictions for this game. You were a little bit closer on that previous matchup, Lucifer. I hope I beat you this time, my friend. So, top 3
It's
teams.
1-1. You did game number 4. Game number 5.
See, you play fair. Okay, 1-1. Again, this last game is where we're going to see exactly who's got the right predictions here. I think, obviously, there's going to be some sort of an awakening coming through from a couple of these squads, right? Autobots, it's been a while. I've been waiting 2 games now. They have had a rough run. Last season, they did phenomenal, right? This time, I'm expecting them to end their rough run with a solid booyah just to climb the leaderboard towards the end. And of course, Falcons and RRQ, I think it's just a no-brainer, man. Southeast Asia, by now, they're just proving that the lobby is one that they're just going to dominate.
Domination, yes, I think Southeast Asia are doing currently. Everybody keeping a hold, but South Asia, it's your chance. They did it in the South Asia plains. They've looked better. They've gotten closer. This is their opportunity, and I think that is one of the reasons I had majority of my predictions being the South Asian teams and already having Team Apex Gaming, which I'm already telling from the very start. As the game starts, as we move towards Kalahari, is it the same repeat of what started in game number 1 to make an end for a high note for one of these teams?
Well, let's see or not. It's going to be one of the teams from South Asia, or is it going to be Southeast Asia once again? Flight path getting through Foundation all the way down to Soul Ridge, opening up the full map. Autobots first ones out of the flight and straight into Old Hampton, and potentially with a split drop onto Shrines as well, which will put them right in the crosshairs of REVENANT XSPARK.
Refinery on the other end, that's what we were kind of eyeing on. Will there be a drop clash? It, for the time being, doesn't seem to be. HOTSHOTs have taken a little further down south towards the command post, so no early clashes, but MAQNA and Team Apex Gaming, that could happen at Stone Ridge. On the other end, HOTSHOTs complete safe and sound, as we already spoke. Down at command post, nobody to challenge, but REVENANT XSPARK, they have to be worried about 2 squads. One, yes, their counterparts, the Indian squad, but on the other end, it's even BIGETRON by Vitality, who are always known as the early hunters, who always find eliminations in the very beginning, and it's very tough to take them down. And the challenge happens. Koja is down, Kyong is down. This should be the opening that REVENANT XSPARK were looking for. Damage being done to Sohan by Diggs, and life HP all going down in Sohan. He'll be knocked. This was the opening that REVENANT XSPARK should have won on, but turned around is Diggs.
Yeah, man. I mean, Autobots, they bring their numbers back in here. BIGETRON by Vitality losing numbers as well. They're not really in the best of spots, and it looks like it's going to be an easy revival off of Council Hall, because BIGETRON by Vitality pulled off a smart drop here, making sure Sidbank drops away, far away at Council Hall. He had more than enough coins to bring the rest of the team members back. Autobots up against DRS though. Can Autobots pick off those easy points off of DRS, who have been struggling throughout the whole day? Or will DRS finally prove that they are not going to be easy points for the whole run in here?
DRS, they were the little bit of a troublemakers to even the BIGETRON and RNT fight, but right now, yes, as you said, it seems like DRS, they're ready. They want these eliminations. Whether they've had a bad day so far, they will still strike forward. Johan will also be found. More eliminations going in favor of DRS, and that's going to make a total of 5. And I think this is something that DRS have always been able to make, but MAQNA, Stone Ridge, we spoke about it. Team Apex Gaming, they'll put an end to it, but their trouble is still not put to rest. Bangla Unity, after hearing so much chaos here in Kalahari, wanted to go in for a challenge. KD, God, he's always been the first to fall from his squad, and once again, he's taken down.
Team Apex Gaming on the quick revive coming on through here, and Wolven can't get to the rest of his team members in time for the save, but he will get there for the double knock. But Wolven now pushed down to the ground. Sahil Jad going in for the save, but is it too late? Has the AUG in hand, going up against the full squad of Bangla Unity. 1v3. Sahil Jad on a very risky mission here. Has 900 coins in his pocket, going for the double revive. Raihan him with the IF90. Easy takedown. And they all depend on KD God for the massive revives.
He'll get the two players back up. He did not have enough for the fourth. He needs another 100 coins, and he has one right in front of the broken ship at Santa Catarina. So there is another saving grace for Team Apex Gaming, but on the other end, nothing for DRS. Once more, after getting 5 eliminations at shrines that we ended up seeing, BIGETRON by Vitality, who were able to get their squad back up, they were the ones who put them down to rest. Unfortunate, but fortunate for now could be RRQ KAZU. They're spotting the entire squad of REVENANT, XSPARK, a challenge, damage trying to be done. Demon's Pride, they have a challenge right in front with them. That is going to be AUTOBOTZ, and Madara, he's going to be knocked, but there's going to be an exchange as well. Power trying to hold off. Mad God super low on that knock and will be confirmed. Power trying his best, making a run across, but no, the timing too late from him. Going in for a 1v2, and Demon's Pride, they will be able to get another for themselves.
Man, unfortunate. But Prodigy did manage to drive his way out of that craze. Mad God's found by Jazzy as well. Demon's Pride will be able to absolutely snuff out the fire of AUTOBOTZ, which I have to say wasn't even strong to begin with. REVENANT XSPARK getting caught by the players of RRQ. This is not a battle you want to get yourself into if you're from the side of Revenant. Vincent spotted up from the top, and the sniper almost getting taken off of his perch there by Maal.
RRQ KAZU, they have complete information of what they need to do. 18 Dior, he puts the player down first. The opening Ursh, the rusher is down. Vincent's position is already known. That's going to be trouble. They will try to put him down. There's an angle that Mal found. Damage trying to be done. Hook gun being used. Try to climb up. Vincent has to make a run from that position. He's already compromised. There's not much he can do. Finally going in for a front-on battle. Not the right weapon, whereas Vincent had it. He'll put the player down, get that confirmation, but not for long, as Rance will quickly run up as well. Exchange that. Wait, actually, Mal 77 did not get taken down. I thought the confirmation was there. So Vincent, all the efforts of staying on top of the tower did not give him any dividends.
Nah, man, I mean, he had the information, just could not pull off those shots, and the rest of his team members just got taken down way too quickly. REVENANT XSPARK, just unfortunate in that engagement, but they will get fully revived here. So what does have the coins on him? BIGETRON by Vitality now challenging their big brothers RRQ on this refinery platform. I'll take it out of the equation already. 18 Deer, or Deer 18 I have to say. Winchester in the CQC had the Bison to play. Abe comes for the backup, brings Maal back in here as well. Abe on fire as he knocks down multiple players on the side of BIGETRON. Rance now with the Mag 7 looking for Kyong. Time Turner saves his life for the time being, on the hunt. Still plays ring around the Rosie and avoids the engagement with Rance and stays up on his feet.
RRQ, they have looked brilliant. BIGETRON by Vitality, they're the one in trouble. And 18 Dior, he will put the last man down under the ground. And that is RRQ keeping control of Refinery, commanding it that it is their ground to make money and eliminations. And it seems like nobody is going to take that top spot away if RRQ keep getting eliminations. 10 already off this game of Kalahari.
Yeah, man, my, what a game. I thought RRQ and Falcons would do well. I did not expect them to do that well. Even up against BIGETRON by Vitality, who looked like they were on absolute fire. But of course, with RRQ taking out BIGETRON by Vitality early, this is that opportunity for the other teams to play catch-up. You've got Team Apex Gaming still alive and kicking. REVENANT XSPARK with the capability to climb into the top 3 as well. But of course, they're going to need a few extra eliminations out there, Lucifer.
But on the other end, I think what RRQ are prepping for is what they've done throughout their journey as a team. RRQ KAZU, they've tried to get the titles, but all they've gotten closer to is #2s. And I think they finally want to get closer towards a title championship in their name. And if that works out, they will finally look forward to clinching a lot more down the line, a few more in the internationals as well. actions on the side of HOTSHOT. Now they jump up to the sub, trying to hold themselves, but they've spotted the players of Straw Hats. They're a little separated. One of the players who is what they're also questioning of who and where he's running to.
Well, they might not find out the answer, but honestly, I don't even know if they want the answer. They just want the elimination point at this point. Straw Hats versus HOTSHOTs, and obviously the high ground advantage on the side of HOTSHOTs. But with a distance like this, it's going to be very difficult for them to find any eliminations unless Straw Hats gets a little bit closer. Autobots spotted out here by HOTSHOTs as well. They will have a rough idea as to where they can rotate to, providing they do have a jump pad on them.
Straw Hats. What is their plan here? But on the other end, let's take a quick look at the replay. This is what happened. This is what I was talking about of how DRS got taken down after trying to hold control of Shrines. And you can see Takuri and Alu.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not the right way to run away. The opponent's right in front and you still decide to see if you could take a launch pad. And yeah, I think DRS, they understood that they had no chance there and just wanted to make a move in the other direction. But not going to happen when the opponents have pinned you down. And right now, Falcons, they seem like they have an idea about what and where Revenant XSPARK are. As you can see, Kunal might be on top of the hill, but two of the players are already there. And Kunal, while he thought he had the angle and the chance, they will put him down. And now Falcons are all over Revenant XSPARK. They know what the plan is.
Oh yeah, you can say that again, man. Falcons now, they want the heat, they want the points. Revenant XSPARK, vending machine right there behind them. They need to bring their buddy right back in here. Pina on the chase. Valiant Dash still active on his side, but it's going to be the jump pad. Revenant XSPARK getting the heck out of there. Limit X7 though, one opportunity. R17 manages to get away in the nick of time. And it does not seem like Falcons will be in the mood to go in for the pursuit. No, don't do it. And Autobots though. Another early exit.
Man, I think it's just not there. They Autobots, yes, they were brilliant, and that is one of the reasons they were directly here in the main event of what they did in FFMIC 2026 spring just a month ago. They almost look like they would have brought the first title to South Asia in all the battle. Falcons on the other end, they seem to keep it going, and now they try to get closer towards RRQ. We did see they're still at the edge of the play zone. There's a lot more running that they have to get and do towards Refinery in itself, but RRQ, they are very confident inside Refinery. They're feeling super happy, and you can see after getting those 10 eliminations, Mal seems to be on top of the world. It almost looks like the Lion King's reference. He's just the one that's going to take the control of this last game.
Let's see if or not he is going to rise to the top like a lion, man. Like the logo right behind me all the time.
Yeah.
But I don't know if or not the rest of these teams will allow him a decent space to get a run like that done. Now, there's a little bit of calm before the storm. Nobody wants to get into the next zone just yet. They want to get battle prepped first. They want to get battle ready. And it's exactly what they will go ahead and do. Straw Hats, on the other hand, get caught out here. And it's Bangla Unity on the chase. Shocked! Just unable to get away from the heat. Extra from afar, though, trying to protect the rest of his buddies from the side of Straw Hats. But all those glue walls keep them protected. Bangla Unity will not get taken down that easy. They protect themselves, but still on the hunt. Who's going to be the next victim here on the chase? Raihan tagged up from afar. But the 2v1, Sihan with the M590 from up top that tent with an easy headshot. Now leaving their opponents, Straw Hats, with one final survivor on their side.
A little bit of a Bangladeshi showdown in terms of rivalry as well. Straw Hats, as they take away the regional title and leave Bangla Unity at the second spot. It seems like now they're trying to take it away from Straw Hats itself. Money hit here for Extra. He was trying to cover his teammates. Now all he can do is cover for them in terms of giving them a revive. He's gotten closer to the vending machine. But yeah, a little more. Okay, there you go. Yes, it happens. Play zone, so much damage. You could be worried that there is a team chasing, but a little too out on the play zone. He had to go out of his way to get the whole squad back up. But I'm pretty sure it's not going to be easy, as the circle is already so close to crunching all the teams together, and in a map like Kalahari, you wouldn't want a lot of teams surviving, and because they survive out in the open, they completely see these birds flying down, and that is free picking. But free picking is something that Team Apex Gaming should start looking forward to. After that initial fight that we ended up seeing towards bringing up a little bit of eliminations at the edge, where we just saw Extra going in for a revive, we've not seen Team Apex Gaming do anything. Right as now, all they're doing is holding the center for themselves.
Yeah, let's see if or not this spot can give them a couple of extra points out here. RRQ with a high ground bird's eye view of everything that's happening, and Abe, sharp shot with an AWM. Arsh put down onto the ground. Revenant XSPARK under a lot of danger. Abe, valiant dashes through all of those defenses. Rans find so hard, and it looks like RRQ will pick up number after number. Revenant XSPARK just in a fight they cannot handle just yet.
RRQ, they've been just brilliant in terms of their execution. Revenant XSPARK, the players who did not manage to jump down or fall down from the ship, are still holding their forces, but for how long? It's trouble. They do not even have the vending machine in control, so that's even more troublesome for them. As Revenant XSPARK, they're trying to being challenged. RRQ, they're not finding a way to climb up, but they're also being a little more cautious in their approach, because they know as this is at the edge of the circle, there will be a lot of teams who want to get closer. On the other end, Tags Sahil Jat will find the players of Straw Hats who want to make their entry, but it's not going to work. Nil will also be put down. That should be another confirmation, and it seems like Team Apex Gaming are slowly finding eliminations, but as they try to go further and get that elimination, RRQ send a surprise bullet, and now they have to be worried and get back to cover inside the circle.
Yeah, slowly but surely, Team Apex Gaming is inching on forward. Cannot be spotted out by RRQ just yet. That's going to be absolutely deadly. And Abe with a shot from afar. Katie got shut down and put out of the equation instantaneously. Riptide Rhythm exposing the whole squad of Tag, and they tag them up with those shots. Maal with the follow-up. Shoto now taken out of the equation. And it looks like Team Apex Gaming will have no chance at survival if RRQ keeps this up.
RRQ, KAZU, unbelievable stuff, and look at the defense wall they've propped up right behind them, so there is no chance for anybody to creep behind. And a brilliant play. Finally, a little bit of a knock on Mal, and that will try to buy some time for the other teams to get closer to the circle. That's also going to be crucial, and it still keeps RRQ KAZU inside, and that is brilliant for them. However, they're being challenged. The position that we spoke about, it seems like maybe HOTSHOT want to take a hit upon them, and finally RRQ KAZU decide it's time to back off from that ledge. Go ahead, look forward to the teams who are behind us and take them down. They've already spotted a glue wall. That is going to be from one player of Straw Hats, who's trying to survive further, but that is the only man from Straw Hats. So for him to go further down this fight is going to be difficult, where the other players are still charging upon. Even Revenant XSPARK are down to their last leg. So these two teams in a big difficulty, just like even Team Apex Gaming, as they're down to the last two squads. But an Arvon being used, I think likely by RRQ itself, gives them an idea that there's going to be two squads holding around the sub.
Straw Hats need to awaken their conqueror's haki here if they want to dominate a lobby like this. Bangla Unity spotting out the players of Demon Sprite. Taking those shots, cannot find them just yet. Leo takes out the final Straw Hat to put an end to them. Revenant XSPARK though finds a final player taken out by the circle, and the team gets taken out in the 7th spot. HOTSHOTs facing the shots up against RRQ, and it looks like they cannot sustain that battle for as long as they want to. The pickups coming on through. Bangla Unity tagged up by the circle as well. Rotation's going to be rough here for Bangla Unity. The pressure coming on through. Demon Sprite now taking the fight straight up against them. Valiant dash, but Arvon breaks down the defenses. Everybody down on the ground, and Bangla Unity standing tall with Beerus and Hunter, making sure the squad does not go down.
They don't have a lot of space. They have to be quick on it. They're still being hit by the nades. On the other end, HOTSHOTs, while they were holding for this, RRQ KAZU, they run right to them, put the whole squad down, and Falcons from the other end put an end to Bangla Unity. It's down to RRQ KAZU and Falcons. Previously, in the game number 5, it was Falcons who were able to put RRQ KAZU to rest. Team Apex Gaming in the mix of it, they did make it to get a booyah on Kalahari in game number 1, but right as of now, the numbers not helping them out. Maal finds the opening, gets Racha also confirmed. Trouble for Falcons continues. Melters being used. Team Apex Gaming trying to bite this time in their favor, while Falcons are being completely doubled by RRQ KAZU.
Yeah, Team Apex Gaming just need to play this cool, calm, collected. Don't pick a fight just yet. Maal though in a dangerous position here. Up against Limit X7. Limit spotted out. Abe gets the knock onto Kororo. Pina found by Rans. And Rans just goes on an absolute mad run against Falcons, annihilating them in the third spot. And now the Indian squad, Wolvin too low. Sahil Jat, the only player left here on the side of Team Apex Gaming. RRQ says, no problem, brother. They drop the final player. They walk away with yet another booyah.
What a game coming in from RRQ. We were already talking about how difficult this gets in terms of the race for everybody else in RRQ on one given day, proving the powerhouse of Indonesia. And there it is, a casual day in the office is how they take it, because they know they're prepping for the grand finals. This is brilliant, the way they held from the refinery position till the end in that ledges position that they had around the edge of the sub. They just kept control of every angle that they knew they were running towards. It never felt like they were about to lose a little bit of hit. Even in this play with HOTSHOT, initially HOTSHOT got separated, and from there they picked one of the player, and then they knew where at the hill's edge that HOTSHOT will be, and same happened for Falcons. Before they could climb up, RRQ put them to rest, and before Team Apex Gaming could see if there is a forward approach that they could put the players of RRQ KAZU down, it was them all around surrounding them and telling them, hands up guys, this is our booyah.
RRQ have always been known as the apex predator when it comes to the Kalahari play, and they go ahead to prove that once again on their refinery drop. And like you said, they controlled the map, they controlled each and every single compound they dropped by with absolute finesse, and they dominated the run today. They dominated the lobby. The number of eliminations they have brought out is just incomparable. The number of booyahs they've managed to achieve here for themselves. The team with 3 booyahs, the only team to make such a run like that in the main week, proving that Southeast Asia definitely still brings the biggest heat out there on the battlefield.
Yeah, this is insane. I mean, going back to spring as well, I was just trying to trace if there is any team that's done it. Yes, they were United Horus on their day off when they made their debut. That was on day 2, but day 1 it was not one team's game completely. But here RRQ on day number 1 of the main event itself, and now to the end the last game, AJ, it's 36 total points, 24 eliminations. Ouch,
Man,
that's gonna hurt. A lot of points going away from teams.
This is officially the record here in the main week set by RRQ, the Booyah plus 24 eliminations. Falcons right behind them as expected for Southeast Asia, rising to the top 10 eliminations, 8 placement points for a total of 18. Bangla Unity still making Bangladesh very, very proud, still representing strong. But Team Apex Gaming, although they did get far into the final circle as that second team, they just could not pick up as many eliminations in this game. But man, your MVP is the one and only Abe. Second time in the day, 9 eliminations, 3,871 damage, 10 assists. That Valiant dash is lethal, and he's the backup sniper of the squad as well. He's got that AWM rocking it. I mean, RRQ is lethal up close and personal. Abe will blast you away, but from a long range, it looks like he can do the exact same thing.
We were talking about how Maal was finding eliminations, but on top of it, if there's a player like this acting as a secondary sniper, this just goes to say of how well they played the Kalahari terrain. We already keep saying, right, this is the sniper's haven, and I think almost everybody decides to keep this play as a sniper's game. Brilliant stuff from his end, even having the Drakey, like he's mixing between those two, and on top of that, they have a Steffi to play around. It's just brilliant to see with the Grenadier having Cassie and then the Bastion and Alvaro with Olivia and Moko. This way of I'm unable to, like, if you go to 18 Deer, right, he doesn't seem like his picks on the skill seem to be like of a support, but he played a Rusher's part and a Grenadier's part, and what else is left now?
Yeah, I think 18 Deer is now the true flex player of the RRQ squad. Like you said, he's the support player with that electrotherapy Cassie. He's got the Olivia as well that makes the healing a little bit more potent. And he is the Grenadier of the squad. And he's actually very good with his aim as a rusher. So he is a rusher, he's a support, he's the Grenadier, he's everything for the squad. But what makes this very impressive is Abe is classified as a rusher, but he's still acting as that support sniper of the RRQ squad. Overall, Maal, as usual, usual. Look at the damage, man. Not a lot on the eliminations, but he was just torturing everybody he came across on the battlefield. He had a field day out there, but it was Renz. It was at M590. This guy is just unstoppable. One of the newest members on the side of RRQ, and the kid is showing exactly why he earned his spot.
Brilliant stuff. I think unbelievable of how RRQ played. And look at them. In RRQ's position, it just looked like their home and the center point for them to move around was always Refinery. They took the zip, moved towards Foundation, finished the fight, came back to Refinery. There was a squad, pushed them out, moved down to Refinery, then finished that squad, came back to Refinery. It's just that back and forth. Whereas Falcons, they went all over the place. There's a lot of challenges that they had to win. The only time that Falcons did get pushed was when the sub was ended up being last and final circle for play, and that's where even Falcons made the jump. REVENANT XSPARK just ahead of RRQ made that jump, and this is where, right, if you're the first move who does when the circle makes its journey or shifts, if you have the first mover's advantage, you kind of get to play the circle in your control, or you just play to the beats of the other teams who have control of it and try to run from them to find a spot. And especially in Free Fire Max, that is not gonna happen. You will not have a chance to get a safe position because how teams keep surviving. With that, let's take a look at today's standing, and on top of the charts with 141 points is RRQ KAZU, but they're not far behind them is going to be Team Falcons. They've also hit the triple digit mark here, and this is the main event, and that's what the Southeast Asian teams have done. However, there's one thing here, AJ, when we did end up seeing Deva United Horus, right, on their day 2 when they debut for the main event, they got a total of 159 points. RRQ keeping that same stream of high Indonesian horsepower of eliminations, get to 141 with a total of 86 eliminations, 20 higher than the team at the second spot.
Man, Dewa United is not even the Indonesian team for you to look out for, man. It is RRQ. It is, BIGETRON by Vitality. The only reason why they didn't get more numbers is because we have bigger monsters this time here in FFMAI. I mean, we definitely have got much greater squads here. The lobby is so much more difficult, and if RRQ still managed to walk away with 141 points in this lobby, it just shows that they are just a monster that's a cut above. But I'm not going to put any of the squads down just yet. I think the battles were phenomenal. I mean, India stepped it up, right? You've got Team Apex Gaming, you've got REVENANT XSPARK. If you look at South Asia, apart from AUTOBOTZ, India did really well today.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. Apex Gaming as well. REVENANT XSPARK, they tried their best. AUTOBOTZ, we always felt like there was something more, but unfortunately it did not work. But you have to also give credits where we thought that Demon's Pride will have a say in today's performance, but it ended up being HOTSHOT. They also ended up getting a booyah. So South Asian teams, yes, Indonesia ended up becoming a complete powerhouse at the end of day 1. But still, there were a mix where they showed that there is a chance, there is a fight that they will deal with. Because there was a point where BIGETRON by Vitality were almost taken down by REVENANT XSPARK if at Shrines it was not too overcrowded. So overall, it is on a high note and a happy note that teams should end both from South Asia as well as Southeast Asia. While they still keep the competition up, South Asia are not far behind.
Nah, they're not far behind at all. And at the end of the day, you just need to be in the top 12. You just want to aim for the grand finals. For all you know, the South Asian teams are not showing us everything just yet. I believe in the fire that we witnessed during the South Asia play-ins, and I feel like we have not seen any bit of that fire just yet. I feel like we've seen sparks, right?
Yes.
And things are about to blow up once we get into day 2 and 3. Today is just the teaser, Lucifer.
It is indeed. But one thing I think on day 2 I do want to see is the teams from Bangladesh. They were a little here and there, not much either from Bangla Unity or Straw Hats that we ended up seeing. Tomorrow we are going to be seeing Titan Esports Club also making their entry. So that's going to be even more interesting to see what Bangladeshi squads in general can do, while South Asia play-ins was completely dominated by them. And this was just a brilliant day 1, AJ, that I witnessed, and I cannot wait for what day 2 will unfold.
I'm waiting to see S8UL in the battle. I cannot wait to see exactly what the X-Raiders United have got to say and do out there on the battlefield. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, same time, same place tomorrow. We'll catch you there. Y'all take care. We are signing off.
See ya.